Hello, I'm Tom Terry. I'm the president of the board of Ocean Pines Association, and I was elected to the board in 2010.
Hello, I'm John McLaughlin. I'm vice president of the board, and I've been a member since 2008.
I'm Pete Gomsack, and I was elected to the board in 2009. I'm the treasurer of the organization, and so I'm in my second year on the board.
Hi, I'm Rick Handelman. I was appointed to the board by these gentlemen in 2010.
Hi, I'm Les Purcell. I'm the secretary of the board, and I'm serving my 4th term as we speak.
Hi, I'm Dave Stevens. I was re-elected for my 2nd term in 2010.
And I'm Ray Unger. This is my 2nd term on the board in Ocean Pines.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I want to go over the agenda for today. We have public comment, approval of a set of minutes, presentation from Ron Fisher on the activities of the Communication Advisory Committee, County Commissioners report, General Manager's report, old business resolution update, dog park, Carrollton Lane, and I'm going to insert YMCA under there as old business as well. Update on that. New business, elections committee, and the Majors Facility Planning Group, appointment to a Marine Advisory Committee, motion for attendance at the County Commissioner meetings, update on the Burbage property discussion, and Bob, I understand you have a couple things to add.
Just a couple of equipment purchases that won't occur until after May 1st, but we need to get them in the queue because, excuse me, timing, but they are already on the budget, or in the budget.
And then public comments, questions, the press, and adjourn. Any additions?
Tom, I have a deletion.
Okay.
I would like to delete from the, under new business, the motion to accept the report of the 10-year plan Major Facilities Task Force. That report is not yet ready. It's still being reviewed and discussed, and there's nothing magical about that. It was just kind of a final report from the group that had met previously. We're not ready, so let's withdraw that from the motion, from the agenda.
Okay. Any other changes? Oh, okay. Give another set of minutes.
For what?
Yes.
What are those?
It's the March 16th.
Oh. So we have
Okay.
them in the pack. Okay, good.
With no other changes to the agenda, we'll move on to public comment. We've got a lot to cover today, folks, so if you could keep the comments within 2 to 3 minutes, I would appreciate it. We've got a lot to do, but still want to give opportunity for input. So, one at a time. Whoever wants to go first.
We have approved the agenda, I take it.
I believe we did.
Okay, I didn't hear
When I
it.
said, are there any other changes?
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Nobody
Okay.
said anything, so move on.
Agreed.
Yeah, agree. Any public comment?
Public.
Okay. We have a set of minutes to look at from March 16th. These were in your board packet. Any changes or adjustments?
I'm not missing anything, am I?
No, you're not.
Yeah. What we were just handed was already in the packet?
It was already in the packet.
Yes.
Okay.
There was a special meeting, is that what you're talking about?
No.
It's the same thing?
It's the same.
Then I'll move adoption of the minutes.
Approval? Any objection? Approved. Okay. We have an opportunity now to hear from Ron Fisher, the chair of our Communications Advisory Committee, giving us an update on what's going on with his group and continuing our efforts to give the advisory chairman and chairpersons opportunity to let the community and us know what's going on with their groups.
Morning.
Good morning.
In addition to making recommendations to enhance communications, the Communications Advisory Committee also has a responsibility to foster community spirit. The committee's activities have considered both of these charges while at the same time being budget conscious, which I'm sure is important to everyone. I want to thank initially Teresa Travatello and Dave Schwarten for their help in implementation of a lot of the committee's recommendations, and of course our board advisor, Tom Terry. The committee's taken a very practical approach towards determining its objectives and implementation of its recommendations. In other words, we're not out there with pie in the sky, we're trying to be practical. So I'd like to begin by reviewing our accomplishments. The committee undertook the redesign of the OPA website while also providing the internal ability to modify and expand the site. We were assisted by Joe Reynolds and Teresa in the implementation phase. And we also considered the residents' desires with regards to content and format. This is an ongoing process as we continue to enhance the site, and I'm sure most of you recognize that there's been considerable improvement. We completed a telecommunications review and reviewed potential alternatives to Mediacom cable. As a result of that review, we developed a telecommunication Mediacom cable fact sheet, which is made available on the website. We completed a review of all OPA publications and determined that the information is current and that there is no duplication. We organized with the cooperation of Atlantic General Hospital a very successful health fair, which was held at the community center. We actually brought it into Ocean Pines for Ocean Pines residents. And we held a seminar on writing effective press releases for clubs and staff of Ocean Pines, and developed and published a press release guide which looks like this and is available to anyone through Teresa Travatello. We developed a task force to assist management in establishing a process to effectively measure customer service. We also initiated a review of Channel 78 in an effort to more effectively utilize it as a communication and informational tool. And we hosted a town meeting to determine communication needs from a community perspective. And at that meeting, we posed a number of guiding questions, and we found it to be very helpful. We asked such questions as, what is unique or different about our association, our community, and what do we do well? How can we improve the image of our association and community, and where do we fall short? And if I can get to the next page here, well, I'll continue. Here we go. And how can we best assess our communications effectiveness? We had a considerable amount of input. We had responses such as what is unique or different. We have a wide range of amenities. We're near the bay, beach, and ocean. We have a large variety of recreational opportunities, boating, fishing, and other clubs in the community. We have a highly diverse population, heavy community involvement by residents. We have both part-time and full-time, and we provide a safe and high quality of life, and that's very important. I'm not going to go through all these questions, but that gives you an idea of the kind of input that we had from the community. The committee also has a number of current activities that I'd like to review quickly for you. We continue to work on our customer service assessment, our website, and Channel 78. We're also looking towards doing more video productions. And in fact, I understand Teresa was successful in getting an intern to assist this summer with development of additional video productions. We also hosted a focus group of realtors from the Eastern Shore Realtors Association. And the focus of that meeting was how can we better promote Ocean Pines as a resort community. We felt that by doing that, we might be able to actually enhance our property sales and rentals in the community. We posed 4 questions to this group. One was, what resources should we provide to better promote our amenities to the community, including vacation renters and full-time renters? How can we help promote the community as a great place to relocate to? Should we consider a marketing DVD? And should we consider a separate website promoting the community as a resort? Some of their responses were that we should consider developing a pamphlet for renters, that we should include coupons for discounts for some of the amenities, consider development of a welcome packet for new residents to also include coupons, that we should better explain association fees and what is included in the fees. There's a lot of misunderstanding in the other communities, and we actually get a pretty good deal here. The current website should be expanded or a new website developed to promote the community as a resort community and should include action videos on site of the amenities and testimony from residents living in the Pines, and should also include clubs and churches. A possible link into YouTube should also be considered, and consideration should be given to develop new services such as beach shuttle to the beach club and possible fitness center. We should consider better promotion of the community center and pools. And there was a lot of concern expressed, particularly with regards to part-time residents and renters, that we do not have a deep water boat launch that's available on weekends here in the Pines. They felt that that was a deterrent to getting a lot of renters and people to purchase property here. So it's our hope that as we begin implementation of a lot of these recommendations, that the end result is enhancement of the community in the eyes of everyone in general, that we can promote and increase our property values as a result of that, and really let people know that we are a resort community and that we have wonderful amenities here. Thank you.
Thank you, Ted.
Any questions? Ron?
Good job.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you, Ron Kehoe and your whole committee. Doing a lot of good work, reaching out. And if you can enhance Channel 78, I'll give you a standing ovation. Okay. I see Jim Bunting here.
No further discussion.
Yeah, he is. Jim, there you are.
I think what I'm doing is talking about changing the ramp a little bit or something, so we get more kind of location, we just reconfigure it so you can get more trailers.
First, I didn't prepare a written report today. We had a commissioners meeting yesterday, so after a meeting last night, I didn't have time to do a written report, so I'm going to be winging it. One of the things of interest to Ocean Pines that I believe that happened yesterday is the Board of Elections is proposing to relocate the polling area at the South Gate Fire Department. Unfortunately, the county does not have any control over that, so it will take the people in District 5 to contact the Board of Elections and if they have concerns with the relocation. Right now, the 2 sites they picked are actually not in Ocean Pines, and they're on the other side of 589. So anybody that votes in District 5 may want to contact the Board of Elections on that issue. Secondly,
Excuse me, is there a website, an email?
for the Board of Elections, yes. I don't know what it is, but you can go on the Western County website and get it. I don't know if it's made the papers yet, but it will. You will see a public advertisement in the paper for our budget hearing on May 3rd, 2011 at 7 o'clock p.m. at Snow Hill High School, and that'll be for the budget of Worcester County. We've received all the departments' requests, and we projected revenues, and right now we're at a $3 million difference we're short. Also, in that same advertisement, you will see this, and it's going to read 2011, let's see, let me get this straight. Worcester County notice on a proposed real property tax decrease. Basically, it's not a tax decrease. We're going to hold the limit of 70 cents per dollar. But it is a decrease because our tax base, our property tax assessments have gone down, and that reflects about $1.9 million. We could have, with the constant yield tax rate certification, we could have raised it to 0.7115 per $100, but we decided not to. We think we can work it out, and there will not. It's kind of misleading. It says tax decrease. The decrease is brought on by the economy, not by us lowering our tax rate of 70 cents per dollar or per $100. And again, that meeting is on May 3rd, 2011 at 7 o'clock at the Snow Hill High School. We urge everybody to attend it. The last thing I want to talk about is natural gas. On April 5th, we had a meeting with, information meeting with Eastern Shore Gas. It was very informative. They provided us with a lot of information. And the last question I asked, are you committed to bringing natural gas to Worcester County? And the answer is yes. Now, under Eastern Shore Gas's proposal, the first place it would come to would be the northern part of Ocean Pines over here on this side. Just due to the fact that all the propane gas is fed from Holly Grove Road and it comes this direction. And they're going to have to isolate sections and purge them and then make arrangements for all the conversions for your appliances to handle natural gas. Yesterday, we had an information meeting with Chesapeake Utilities, which is also very informative. And I'm glad to say that yesterday the county signed a non-exclusive franchise agreement with Chesapeake Utilities for natural gas. So irregardless whether there's negotiations going on right now, irregardless, by December the 31st, there will be a main line for natural gas at the intersection of 589 and Beecham Road. Who will be the handling of distributing it? That's in negotiations. They could automatically tie into Eastern Shore Gas line because it will handle natural gas. Or those negotiations do not prevail. It's possible Chesapeake Utilities will buy Eastern Shore Gas's lines, or they will have to install their own. It's being negotiated, and I think it's going to turn out good for everybody, and there will be a savings, and I'm glad it's coming. So there's a lot of scheduling, a lot of hard work to be done to convert. Certain appliances can be converted, certain appliances can't be converted. So I have all that information. If anybody wants to talk to me about it, just get up with me, and I don't think I should be standing here and going into all those details right now. But it is coming, and I'm glad to say we signed the agreement yesterday with them. And I also see on the agenda that they're going to discuss the Burbidge property later. Would you rather for me, I have some information on that also. Would you rather for just wait for that discussion?
You're there, you might.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, as you know, the Burbidge property, which is down here on 589 across from the surveying office where the fruit stand is requested a rezoning to C2 commercial. They had a hearing with the Planning Commission last Thursday. And actually, the meeting got kind of drug out and long, so it was rescheduled again for tomorrow. Due to problems, so nobody shows up tomorrow, due to problems with scheduling, the attorney had stuff was scheduled for tomorrow. They've withdrawn and they're going to be coming back. There was problems with the state highway report, not problems with the report, it was a good report, but it just didn't get to the Planning Commission fast enough. So do not show up for that meeting tomorrow. And just wanted to let you know that it will be rescheduled, and I'll let you all know as soon as I find out.
Jimmy, does that mean they have temporarily withdrawn the request for the zoning change?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
They just cannot prepare due to scheduling conflicts. They thought they were going to be done last Thursday, get the recommendation whether favorable or unfavorable, and that was not decided, so it was rescheduled again for tomorrow, and there was conflicts with the attorney. So, and just for your information, if it's a favorable recommendation from the Planning Commission, it goes to the County Commissioners, or if it's unfavorable, it goes to the County Commissioners. But instead of just a majority vote for it to pass, it takes a supermajority with an unfavorable recommendation.
Just to clarify, Ray asked if it had been withdrawn, but the application has not been withdrawn.
Well, the email I got this morning said it had, but I don't know. That's what the email I got received this morning, because I didn't know until this morning. It may not have been withdrawn, or maybe it's just rescheduled, but it will not happen tomorrow. And they're probably looking at, I'm hearing in a couple months. And I'll be glad to answer any questions on about the gas or anything.
There'll be plenty of those in time, I'm sure. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Jim, the only thing I would add is you know, just for the folks, 4 of our board members here went to that hearing yesterday on the gas to see what was being said. And there were a couple things that what I heard from the discussion is there's one big hurdle, and that is 113 and getting through the state and get the approval of using that right away. That's the biggest hurdle. The biggest plus, and the reason that December 31st is so critical, is there is a tax credit for the gas company where they can write off the expenses this year if they finish the job this year.
December 31st.
In their corporate taxes. So there is a really good reason for them to try to get this done
and
now.
And it's 100%.
And I'm glad they have that opportunity. Yeah, let's go ahead.
Did they have to finish it or just start it?
It said complete.
It has to be to 589 and Beecham Road with the ability to hook up to an area.
Yeah, it has to be done.
Yes, and the Chesapeake Utilities feels very confident that they've already been working. By us signing the non-exclusive franchise agreement yesterday, it gave them they can go on to the Public Service Commission now and start getting everything in line. Yes, sir.
How far does the natural gas come now?
It stops at the main line from Delaware side, stops in Middleborough. And that's been the holdup, really. I mean, somebody has to come up with the money to get it to Worcester County. And with this stimulus money, everybody's really hot to get it down here now and use and take advantage of the stimulus money. And plus Mine Air in Shelbyville, the big poultry plant, they're going to convert to natural gas, and that was a big incentive to get them to Shelbyville. And since they're to Shelbyville, they're not that far from the Worcester County line.
Jim, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm going to, with approval, I'm going to adjust the agenda slightly and move right into the Burbidge property discussion. If there's no objections, I'll let Bob just move on to that topic right now, since we just heard something about it. Bob, go ahead.
The only change that I was going to bring up was we were going to discuss and we're going to distribute information. I went to the planning and zoning meeting last week or week before last when it was discussed at length. A couple of things I want to make sure I point out for everybody. First, given the light that I did get a call from planning and zoning yesterday saying there was a postponement for the meeting. Therefore, what I'm going to do is circulate this week the information I picked up at the meeting to all the board members for review. That way we don't have to make a decision today. The decision today was stepped up a little bit because planning and zoning was meeting tomorrow, and they asked us if we still supported or wanted to reaffirm a letter that was dated May of 2009 that the board had submitted. So now we'll have a little more time to circulate that for everybody to discuss. So for that reasoning, we're not going to do any further discussion on verbiage today, if that's okay with everybody.
Okay, makes sense. Okay. General manager's report. Yes, Rick.
In 2009, what was the board's position?
Well, Mr. Stevens was the president, if you'd like to.
I think it's.
Do you have that letter?
I don't have it with me.
There's a letter.
I read that letter.
Yeah, well, let us give you a copy, a copy of.
Okay.
But I think it'd be better for you to actually read the letter. The circumstances were slightly different at that point in time, and that's what you have to understand. At that point in time, the planning committee was recommending an R1 zoning, and Jack Burbidge was requesting that, contrary to the Planning Commission's report, that it be C1 zone. It was A1. And we had no position on A1, but we did support Jack Burbidge's C1 with certain conditions. And specifically, it's his stated intent to use it as a medical for medical facilities. There's several issues. I mean, that it needs to be revisited, really, and so
We'll circulate the information
yeah.
on that. Rick, there's a copy of the letter you can read.
Yeah.
I had a copy with me, so no objections. We'll move on to Bob.
Yes, sir.
And I got to apologize. I looked at my email real quick this morning, and like I said, withdrawn, and it should have been postponed. I apologize. Apparently, it was just postponed.
Postponed, okay.
Postponed, I
That
think.
clears that up. Okay.
Okay, came last minute to me, too.
We
so
knew
I
that.
understand.
We knew that.
Make it big news there, Jim. Okay, Bob.
Headlines. Withdrawn.
Okay, general manager's report. Printed it out.
Thank you, sir. You don't have to read.
All right, an update for everybody. Here's what we're going to cover in the report today. The numbers as we do each month to address where we are year to date. Some golf highlights, which we have not been including. You know, it's partnering with Billy Casper Golf. One of the items we wanted to do was give them a little time to settle in. I think they've done that, and we're starting to track their numbers with some more accuracy, and I thought I'd report some of that for you folks. Swim and Racket Club changes that have occurred recently. Yacht Club changes. We're going to discuss legal matters, talk a little bit about the police department, aquatics, the facilities planning group, i.e. the 10-year task force, and a little bit about communications for this month. Any questions about the agenda? All right, running through the numbers. I let off with these this month because this always seems to be the part that everyone wants to see. I thought instead of saving it last, sometimes I go last, sometimes I go first. I'm real pleased with where we are. Admin, we're behind budget by $83,000. Public Works by $31,000. Public Safety, which is fire and police, we're ahead by $31,000. Rec and Parks, which does include the marina, we're ahead by 119,000, almost 120. Aquatics, 42,000 ahead. Now, when I say ahead, that's ahead of budget numbers. I'll give you a great example there. In aquatics, we're budgeted to be a loss of 182,000 by this time. We're actually at 140,000, hence that's why to the black in the far right column, it's a positive variance for us. Golf, and we included F&B because Turner's Grill is now open downstairs. So I want to make sure everyone understood golf included that. 16,300 to the red. Beach Club is 8,245 to the black. Now that we don't have many changes. That's been positive month after month. Obviously we're closed, so we don't have a whole lot of expense happening there. In Yacht Club, budget against the budget number and actual numbers were 1,579 to the black. End result, as of the end of March, now we have one more month in the year, so we're not jumping up and down going, you know, we've done well yet, but we're 72,000 ahead of last year's budgeted number. Okay. Questions about that?
Bob, I would just make the observation that this is operating expenses and operating revenue. What it does not include is transfers for new capital and a couple of things like that, correct?
Correct. These are operational.
So, yeah, our ultimate bottom line is a function of this number plus another number, and the other number is pretty close to budget as well. So, and it's not, yeah. But new capital is budgeted separately, comes out of the operating fund, so that if we were to be over in new capital, that could offset the impact of this operating thing here. So,
yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Okay.
But these are operational.
Yeah, these are operational
reports each
income.
month.
Right.
Yeah, just,
Yes.
I mean, I think you've already pointed out, though, Bob, that this is against budget.
Yes.
And of course, you know, the difficulty with that this year is that our budget was heavily skewed, particularly in the food and beverage area.
Right.
You know, you can use our Carmine's quarterly report to look at certain areas and see how you were doing in that case against the year-to-date for 2010. And, you know, so you can look at, and again, you know, even that's skewed to the extent that we certainly had less revenues from banquet, significantly,
Yes.
because, again, because of a plan.
The revenues for banquet, I believe, are $117,000 behind the year before, through March.
Actually,
In round numbers, Dave.
299 to 213 is what I'm reading in food banquet.
I'm including banquet, Dave. It's both food and
beverage. There's another 30. So yeah, okay. I'll take your. You know, that's true. That's the big difference. If you look at where you can compare apples to apples, more or less in the food, it's about balanced for last year. I mean, in the food area.
And the banquets being down was a function of the fact that
Everybody thought it was going to be closed.
everybody, so we didn't book, you know, banquet opportunities because we're scheduled to be closed.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I was pointing out.
Yep, no, it's good catch.
Bob, keep the weather up for the next 10 days or so, huh?
Yes. Okay, some of the golf highlights. I thought it was time that we started to report those. I know we're, you know, I'll report March and April, but you know, May 1st starts our new calendar year, but our new year from the financial side. But some quick facts I thought were real interesting because we are tracking this. March of 2010, supplemental play for golf. Okay, 194 rounds. Now when I say supplemental, that's outside play. Okay?
That's
non-member play.
That's for the month.
For the month.
For the month. Okay.
Non-member, non-resident, supplemental.
Non-resident, that's a key.
Correct.
Non-resident.
Correct. Okay. 194 rounds. Conversely, this year, 235 rounds. We had scheduled 305, but we had a couple really bad days, a little bit of snow and rain, which canceled. We ended up having 70 cancellations. No one played that day. We're way up from last year's numbers in supplemental play. Total rounds for the month of March 2010, 1,213 rounds. 1,700. I think it's 1,701. I rounded down. Almost 500 rounds more golf, which I thought was
40%.
yeah, very, very, very positive. This one was a very interesting number when I was taking a look at it. Resident rounds. These are Ocean Pines residents that are not golf members. Okay, they just come out and play. 246 rounds in March of 2010. 453 rounds in March of 2011. Pretty significant. What's that?
Why do you think it is?
I would have to guess all this positive is the fact that we brought Billy Casper in. They're doing a lot of advertising, a lot of focus on customer experience, managing the course differently. And we're seeing results now in increased play. Yeah, pretty good news. I mean, it's great news coming out of the gate. So, okay, Yacht Club. For those who haven't been over there, some of the improvements. I just took a minute. Everything's not completed yet, but we're real close. Those who haven't seen it, we migrated. We finished the coffee shop side, and then we've been migrating over with cafe. Moved the bar, new countertops, just a whole lot of, as I tell folks, a whole lot of lipstick on the issue there. Now, I have had some folks question with the bar. As a matter of fact, I've had folks come in and go, we've lost seating. We actually haven't. We've increased seating. What we did at this picture here, okay, our back, if you're looking this way, your back's to a wall. That's the wall area where we had 2 high-top tables or 4 seats, but that's where staff picked up their drinks and those types of things, so we really didn't have any we didn't have any usable seating there. So we picked the bar up and pretty much slid it up against that wall. In addition to that, we lined that whole wall there with the bar rail. And arguably that ends up, this corner right up in here seems to be the best place that folks seem to congregate now. Yes, sir.
Put that little light over there at that bar. See that? Where all around there, if everybody remembers, we had glass all the way down to the floor. Well, they raised it up about 2.5 feet and insulated in there, and just on the inside of that is where the heaters are. It's almost tripled the efficiency of the heating system over there, because all that heat is not lost now on the glass that's coming up, and it makes a difference. It made a difference in the coffee shop, and it made it over there. That's going to save some money just doing that.
Speaking of money, where are we on the budget?
Oh, yeah.
Don't want to give a final number yet, but we are below what I requested.
That's all I need to hear.
Yeah, we're still running below.
Okay.
Okay. Any more questions about this? We're real pleased with this thus far.
Bob, is it complete now?
No, it's not fully complete.
What needs to be done yet?
Well, I'll give you let's see if one of these pictures. Example, there's going to be a
big TV there.
Yeah, it's set up for a TV. There's going to be a bar built around this to store. What we try to do, all these types of bottles and all, if you remember in the old bar, we're laid on the bar. The challenge with that, you're losing space to sit and serve. Didn't make any sense. So what they're doing is we're building a wraparound here with some shelves where you can set all the bottles up in the shelving area. Those details. TV will go up in here. We also have the gelato machine. If you have not been over there this week, they've cut the hole in the wall where that's going to be mounted. So we're really excited about that.
This morning, yeah.
Yeah, it looks really good. So when all that's done, I'll have the final numbers. But we are currently running under what I requested for budget purposes.
It's been done by Ocean Pines.
This has been everything. 2 parts that were not accomplished by Ocean Pines Public Works team were the countertops and the floor. Okay, and I've had folks question about the floor. If you go in and look, that's actually a vinyl product, and it's a very cost-efficient way you know, to replace that floor. We raised the floor just a little bit with some plywood to create, if you recall, the way that the tile was in there with the molding and then the carpet, it created a
Triplet.
It did. It was,
right.
and just in this process, we replaced all that. So we leveled the floor. We were able to do it quite cost effectively and a vinyl product. So, okay. Now, something that I want to talk to you folks about. We're working through the process, looking at ways to continue to make improvements and have the opportunity to serve more guests at the yacht club. This fence, okay, we're looking at removing. Give you a couple different shots of it. Okay, and there's a shot from the back side of it. Okay. Having the fence there creates a couple of unique situations. In the evenings, we very much limit our space to serve, you know, drinks, food, dinners, those type of things. By removing that, we extend our opportunity to serve those types of things. As well as we're jets in here, anybody that's been out there, right under this area is where, whenever we have live entertainment, the black boxes that they stand on, they're really in this little rectangular area. It creates, you know, folks back here can't, none of these folks can see it, no one from this side. By removing this, we can move any entertainment around, which we think is going to dramatically enhance the use of the whole decking area for food and beverage, late evening, you know, mid to late evening. We do have some hurdles to overcome when we're looking at something like that. We've spoken with the fire marshal. No issue there as long as our gates have the proper latches on it. We've spoken to the county for any potential issues we may run in there. For the county inspectors, no issue there. We've actually put a packet together and sent it up to the state, because any of our pool facilities have state regulations we have to follow, to see if we're going to run into any, you know, anything that we may bump into that precludes us from removing it. Interestingly enough, when we talked about the removal of this fence, if you go back and look at any of the 10-year task force planning, one of the recommendations out of there, which I wasn't aware of until someone had pointed it out when we were going through this fence with 10-year task force was recommended to put on rollers to slide out of the way for evening entertainment. So it's been thought of. You know, it's not something brand new.
Is there any impact on the liquor license or anything like that?
I bet the insurance company.
They're all the check boxes we're going through now. The concern you have with safety is the pool area. As you all know, we've extended pool hours at a lot of our facilities. It's our goal to extend the use of this pool. This pool will remain. I've had a lot of calls in the last couple of weeks. Everyone needs to understand it's our intent to leave this as the adult pool. We have no intent of changing it. We do also intend to have family fun night on Wednesdays. So we're not changing that. What we do intend to do, though, is extend the hours from, instead of closing at 7 for folks to enjoy the water, we'd like to extend it till 9. But after 9 o'clock, the pool will technically be closed for any swimmers or bathers. So no one should be in the pool. Now, what that does for us, though, is it creates the fact if we start utilizing tables, you know, around the area for dinner service, for drink service, we need to keep a lifeguard on duty in case someone falls into the pool. So we've got that budgeted. We've worked it out with our aquatics director how we would staff that and what we would do. So there'd be no actual swimming after 9, but we'd expand it for entertainment and food and beverage service. Yes.
We've had in the recent past, we've used the pool area for large-scale entertainment, using the stage all the way back.
Yes, sir.
I don't recall lifeguards being there for that. Maybe they were. Do you have any input on that?
Well, no, there weren't, as I know of at the time. But the truth of the matter is, if you're going to have people having any drink, you know, because this is, you know, adult area, and as you know, the bars here, why take the chance?
Yeah.
We'll put the lifeguard there. For what we pay the lifeguard, if we can't sell an extra dinner or two an hour or an extra couple of drinks an hour, then we probably shouldn't be considering this anyway. So that's a good question. I just, from a safety standpoint, we think it's a prudent, prudent matter to have one there. Now, the other thing is, from this vantage, this viewpoint, if right here, if those that know, you back up a couple feet, you're up on that ledge, and we used to have entertainment there that looked over. When they put this fencing up, we eliminated that opportunity. So that's going to create the opportunity to go back to that.
May I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
If the fence is going to go down, there's a possibility maybe recycle to use it, maybe someday if we get a dog park?
Great question. Coming down does not mean completely removing. We're still obligated to block off the area. We're basically the back part here, and it's really along this side. Okay, along here where it extends past the bar. What we would do is relocate pieces of that to that level. We need to be able to, at night, when we close the entire facility, lock that area. We found out we can use the facility itself, as long as the doors are locked, as one of the walls from a safety concern. Right. You're allowed to do that. We didn't know when we first started looking. But we're going to use the rest of the fencing we need to extend some fencing here and look at some fencing along this level. So we intend to utilize what we have as opposed to buying any new to reconfigure this.
And lighting is good enough too?
Yes. Yeah, we actually submitted, as you know, we were looking at a planning for the pump house and those areas, and part of that included lighting plan. So we used that.
What's the downside here, if there is?
Some of the pushback I've had with it has primarily come from some of the folks, some of the adult swimmers that use this pool. How are we going to manage the pool? How are we going to prevent people that are coming in to have a drink from just getting into the pool? Those type of things. We've developed a plan where we're going to issue those, they're very cost effective, those armbands. Yeah. And what we'll have to do is multicolor, because if someone leaves it, because they are water resistant, you can swim in those and come back the next day. So what we're going to do is just do a color change each day, and when you come to check in to use the pool, you'll get your color band. So we'll be able to check, and we need to do a more aggressive job managing activities at the pool anyway. So that's how we'll overcome that use of the pool. If you're in there, are you allowed to, are you in the water, or are you supposed to be in the water? Have you paid either with a membership or for the daily use fee?
All plastic cups, no glass.
All plastic, everything's all plastic out here. Yes, that's absolutely correct.
Who's going to manage this whole?
Well, the aquatic side's managed by our aquatics director.
So if I've got a complaint and I'm there having a drink, who do I talk to?
You would talk to our food and beverage manager, Joe.
But if I'm in the water, I talk to them.
But it depends on you're going to have two people. You're going to have your lifeguard, which our intent to put a more senior lifeguard. We won't have a 15-year-old, no disrespect, but we have adults here, okay? We need to have at least a more seasoned lifeguard to help manage that area a little more efficiently.
Okay, seasoned, that's what it is.
A little more seasoned lifeguard as a more mature adult. Any more questions about this? Again, we're addressing the issues with any regulatory, any of those type of things we're going through now.
Safety is the biggest issue.
Safety is a huge issue, and that's why we've planned and budgeted to have a lifeguard there. As long as anyone's around the pool, we're going to have a lifeguard.
Yeah, I have to say, I don't know. I'll have to go back, and my recollection is obviously failing me, but I thought there was a huge issue. Back when I'm talking about the 10-year plan and task force.
Right.
With that fence. I mean, even to the point where moving the tiki bar against the fence was prohibited because people could get over it. Now you're saying we don't need a fence at all. Kind of, I'm not that I'm doubting you.
No.
Not that I'm doubting you. I'm just saying that it's blowing my mind a little bit considering the amount of
We've been looking into it. No, I
conversation.
agree. We've looked into it. I pulled out the 10-year task force report to look at it. I've talked to a number of people. about that.
Well, yeah, if
include
you're
members
doing
of
your
the tenure
homework,
team.
then
Yeah, I
of
mean,
course.
because I agree. I was wondering why it was there, but I'm not sure what led us to have it there. All I know is everything we can find. If we do it properly and we manage it effectively, we're allowed to open that up.
Regulators change.
I don't know.
Bob, I think Kerry Nelson, you're working with Kerry, right?
Kerry Nelson,
Yeah.
Joe Costello.
And Kerry
was
from
on
the
that.
10-year plan task force is the most knowledgeable person about this whole fence thing and the requirements.
Well, Joe Costello's the one who told me
Joe
about the
Costello.
rolling.
He and Joe are the source of my recollection.
Right, well, they're working with Bob, so,
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just, observation.
Yeah, that's why we're not like ready and open yet, because we're still going through a lot of checks and double checks. But that's our intent. We feel that we can offer more food and beverage service. And you know, again, the pushback, to your point, is just some of the folks that use that pool like to have the exclusivity of the pool. And I understand that. We're going to do our best to manage that.
Keep us informed as this week goes.
Sure. Swim and racket. Just wanted to point out for those that may not have been down there, okay, some of the improvements. If you looked there a month ago, okay, these are some of the things that you saw. You see the building, just give everyone perspective, and then the gazebo. This is what you were looking at, okay? Yeah, but it's been that way. Well, it's been that for months.
It's been there for years.
I haven't been there in a while.
But,
Years.
yeah, but let me show you. All right, so this gives you, there's the gazebo, the building's back here. Here's where the dock area is. Just kind of see that. Now, for those who have not been down there, back up one. That's where the dock area is now. Okay, so we've cleaned everything up. Here's a look from across the parking lot. In the parking lot.
That's all usable area over there.
And this is probably the,
Yeah.
okay? And the last look is from this area. Significant difference,
Yeah.
okay? We took out our landscaping, I mean, we had the monies in there, and just cleaning it all up. This is all the crushed stone, and that's working out, compacts well, doesn't throw dust up, and it now gives us a very nice and usable park area. You know, we're trying to make these type of improvements. Now, we will have an issue next October when our contractor comes back in to start to do work on the bulkheads, because that's an ongoing project. If you do research, and I've had folks that live around this whole area, there's 24 homes that actually have to look at this. They have come in, talked to me about their concerns about, you know, for 6, sometimes 9 months a year, they have to look at the sites we saw in the earlier slides. We've got to look, we're looking at other places where they might be able to do staging. I'm not sure what the final answer is, but we know when we put this up, this whole area will not be staging. The potential of using this and what's to the right of it between the tennis court and the tree line area is still potentially a spot where they'll be staging. Have not ironed that out yet, but we will continue to look. But this will not be disturbed.
Good.
Okay? So we didn't just do it to waste it. I mean, we feel that we can manage it more efficiently.
So they do this over the winter and then move out?
Yeah, they do it and the folks that came in and talked to me, apparently they've started as early as August and September some years, and they go until May, June some years. We tighten the window.
20 years or so, haven't it?
Yeah, we tighten the window October to April, and Fish and Marine really jumped on it, and they met that. They were April 2nd when they got out. We had crews working April 3rd to get it cleaned up, once they cleared all their equipment and materials.
That's good.
Real pleased with that. The other thing is we talked about last month, but last phase of this is this crush and run, this stone dust product here. We've already started laying a little bit of the walkway that's going to surround the whole, we're calling it campus there, the whole Swim and Racket campus. Comes out to just shy of a half mile. It's 0.41 miles, and we're going to do a walking trail all the way around it. So we started it, but again, it wasn't. We're watching our numbers very closely. I like being at the black as opposed to red. So, okay. Legal matters, just as an update. I thought I'd update everybody on the furlough case, just so you all know. 11 April, we filed motions to dismiss, we being our attorney, Mr. Cornbrook's office out of Salisbury. There were 2 motions filed during that week. The first motion was to dismiss the individual board members that were named in the lawsuit. The 15th motion was filed to dismiss the entire lawsuit against Ocean Pines. Next step, Mr. Furlow or his attorneys have the opportunity from each of the filing dates. They have 15 days to respond to those 2 requests of dismissal. We then have 15 days to respond if they respond. Then there's a hearing to dismiss. Don't know when that'll be. Okay, the thought is that's usually about 30 days after we filed this, and there's 15 days for them to review it, then they schedule. So it's about 45 days from this trigger date. Then the court makes a ruling after hearing the cases. Now this is only for the motions, whether they want to dismiss or not, on one or both motions. If that doesn't occur, go to, it's a settlement conference. Now, when we speak with Mr. Cornbrook's office, that settlement conference, he said, would be a little bit difficult for us because what is stated in the lawsuit, that drainage needs to be repaired. So it's not, a small monetary amount or a quick fix. If it was, we'd have fixed it by now. So he doesn't see that netting any real benefit at this point, but it is part of the process. And lastly, 15 and 16 August, the trial dates are set for the original lawsuit. It's been pushed off. The first delay was when Skip Cornbrooks changed and went to Baltimore. The files got turned over to Mr. Ernie Cornbrooks, and then it got scheduled to April for the trial dates, and then Mr. Furlow's group filed for an extension based on other circumstances, which has moved the trial date to the 15-16 August.
Bob, for the benefit of the record, he's referring to a law firm that has been retained by our insurance company. So insurance is representing us. They've retained counsel, and that's why we're using that particular law firm, right?
Yes, sir. Okay, so that's the update on the furlough case. We don't have any updates on IRS. It's the same as it was last month. And the only other one would be the YMCA, which we put on the agenda for later. Some quick notes with the police. Chief Massey, and he's here today, was selected by the Local Development Council to chair the committee and examine the impact of the new casino, basically on law enforcement, what impact it's going to have, how it impacts. Chief, do you have any comment on that you'd like to?
Well, I've met with the local chiefs and the sheriff. We're trying to look at traffic flow, how traffic's going to be impacted, mutual aid, what effect will it have on local law enforcement. Also, what emergency plans are in effect or will be in effect if there's any problems out there. So we've met with State Highway. State Highway's come down and they've given us some information. I have another meeting with the entire council on the 20th, so actually 25th. So I'll be meeting with them also.
So the neat part there, I want to make sure I point out to everybody, our police chief is the chair of that, which means we have direct not only input, but we're getting great feedback on what's happening down there. Second highlight I wanted to bring, this new unit, for those that have not seen it, and if anybody here has, sorry, you probably shouldn't have been there. This is basically the new live scan unit. It's been several months in the works, probably 6 months or more in the works. But to purchase this piece of equipment, okay, is approximately $24,000, of which the chief had Jennifer Engstrom working on it for us. And she submitted to get a grant, which the grant was approved. Now what this machine means for us, which is very, very cool, this area here, instead of doing the fingerprints with the ink, now the hand's laid there, the fingers are rolled, laid on there a certain way. that pretty much is an instantaneous contacts with the FBI database, a number of other databases, so they'll know within 10 to 15 minutes if we have a real bad guy or sort of bad guy or no offender. It's chief will be able to make those determinations. And years past, they roll the fingerprints. It could take anywhere from
6 to 8 weeks.
6 to 8 weeks to get the information back. So now it's 10 to 15 minutes. The other thing that it's our intent to use the machine for, there's several levels of authority, or several levels you can reach out to. When we have anybody working around any of the kids in the community, and at Reckitt Parks we have a big summer program, we're now going to scan them for fingerprints, make sure there's nothing in their records that would say they shouldn't be working with our children of our community. And we'll know that in 10 to 15 minutes. So we're real pleased with this piece of equipment. And Chief, thanks so much for having Jennifer work on that. I think that's just a huge step forward in making our, continuing to make our community safer. Instantaneous feedback, is going to go a long way. Not that we have that much crime, and statistically, we're the safest community in Worcester County if you count all the townships, Berlin, Pocomoke, Snow Hill, Ocean City, from a crime stats. Yes, sir.
I recall during the budget process, we talked about this officer, newly hired, but
Part-time officer.
Part-time, but she also has, as I believe I remember, grant experience, correct?
Yes. She's
Not just an officer, police background, but also grant experience, and she secured the grant?
Yes, she's worked and she's made the contacts. The grant system, it really requires to know who, when, where, and how to contact people. And she's developed some rapport and is very knowledgeable on the grants, of what's available, what will be applicable to us, and how to pursue the system.
I suspect you'll cover her salary.
She already has.
Thank you.
Okay. So thanks for all your work there, Chief.
She's still part-time, too?
Yes, sir.
Aquatics, just a quick update here, numbers-wise. These are the numbers for the month of March. As you see, and each month I report it because I'm real proud of the efforts going on down there. And I'm not going to tell you it's not coming with growing pains, as we expand hours and change usage. But end result, again, I'm looking at production, more visitors than our pool. Okay, it's continuing. Now, I don't see that continuing to have such large leaps as it did from here to here. If I did, then we'd need a much bigger facility, that would be my guess. But Tom Perry has done a great job managing that facility for us, and we're looking forward to getting the summer months up and running. We've already started filling the pools and getting ready for the summer season to kick in for us.
Bob, I believe I understand that you don't have the comparable data for the year before, so you can't give a December this year versus December last year, right?
No, we didn't track it before.
Unlike golf, where you can do that. You can't.
Correct. Yeah,
next year we'll be able to do it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Although we do have the revenues.
Yeah, revenues, but I mean...
We have revenue numbers, but tracking actual visits.
Tracking actual usage, that's all. I just wanted to explain why he doesn't have it there for the prior year. We don't have the data.
We don't have the, right. I guess, and
but the revenue is up.
The number of visits, too, doesn't give you a good idea of the number of people either. And in other words, somebody could go every day for, a month.
Well, what it does do is show that our pool's being utilized more and more all the time, which we're producing.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's a meaningless thing, but it's not exactly the whole picture, but that's okay.
Okay, facilities planning group. A lot of energy created around this the last few weeks, to say the least. Hence, your task force was a prior name for it, so I just wanted to go over some facts around this right now. I've told you folks that I'm working on it. We're working on some things. I thought I'd bring you an update. First thing is, we talked about back in October, November, and of how we were going to break the groups down into two different pieces. Now, understand the facilities planning group is a group that's going to take a holistic look at our community and the needs from the major facilities to include infrastructure needs. Okay? And then prioritize those, and then have that as our building block or our foundation for budgetary purposes and for expenditures. A group had worked for, and most folks know this, for about 18 months of gathering countless hours. A lot of work went into it. You saw the report. I think the last formal report was in June of last year. There was a presentation and great detail, and that is available. I believe it's still on our website, the Ocean Pines website. But you can go back and look at all the work, and that's going to serve as our launching pad, our foundation for the new group. Now, what the group is, though, is really it's a planning group that's going to help me align, track, and present things to the board for approval, for redirection, for coaching to say, hey, have you looked at this? Or, hey, maybe you ought to be looking in this direction. Or, no, we should look, to do X. But we need a starting point. Now, if you look, Mr. Maroney, Mr. Rako were both on the last one, and they were folks that drove it very, very hard. And you look at interesting, Ted's background's commercial construction. He does a lot of commercial across the bridge, Baltimore, or primarily Washington, Virginia areas. Those know Mr. Rako was past board president, but he construction for years. Kerry Nelson, our Public Works Department, because it's critical to have him involved in the advisory group. And then what I did was step out. Right here gives me the construction knowledge to get a real broad brush on where we are. Then I went and said, all right, what else would we need to advise when we're looking at racking and stacking our facilities and how we're going to use them? What's the best usage? Well, naturally, you think about the comprehensive plan, because they're looking at long-range planning for the community. Their input's going to be invaluable to say, how do we rack and stack? How do we prioritize facilities? Then I looked at Clubs Advisory, because Clubs Advisory advises the board on an ongoing basis of how we're doing food and beverage, how we're using our clubs. Are they positive, or, what types of things are we doing? So by having a well-rounded group here, and again, this is an advisory group that I'm asking just to help coach me and keep me smart in this process. Very, very different than the implementation team, which will be the actual working group. Once the overall planning and the alignment of our projects are laid out there, if we decide to start down the path of construction, i.e. like we did the community center, then what's going to happen is there'll be a smaller group that's spun off that will actually manage that process from the construction phase, from the day we break ground till it's finished, and making sure we're going through that. And obviously I've included Ted, Bill, and Kerry because they're the construction specialists as part of the advisors to the group.
Bob, on a project-by-project basis?
Oh, project by project, yes.
basis.
And that's why I said others is needed, because each project, they have other expertise that needs to be brought in. Okay, architectural. There's a number of things that go with it. So this is, again, should not be new to anybody, because I talked about this in November. I followed up in January meeting, these are some of the things we're doing. We're just vetting it out a little further. We really need I really need to do a better job racking and stacking projects. So for budget purposes, and so folks know how, when we're putting monies away, there's a lot of energy created around reserves. We really should have a working list of what our priorities, what our buildings are going to be, and I recognize that. And what we're going to do is try to make sure the board's always in tune and aware of what's going on, so we have sound judgment reasoning behind that. I go one step further and give some, it's nice to talk about, but what we did was build in a timetable or deadlines here, just to make it a little more understandable, and to give you guys some meat, something to actually look at that's reasonable. Plan is 15 June, develop a preliminary assessment of the project list of the major facilities. But now please understand, that's not, I wouldn't say difficult, it's not so difficult, because we have a team that did this for 18 to 24 months in the past, okay? There's already a list out there. All we're going to do is put this smaller group together and say, hey, is there anything we've missed? Are there things that we need to be thinking about? How are we using our clubs? Is it working well? How does this fit into longer range planning for the community? So we intend to meet between now and June to take a look at what was done in the past Not everyone on that new group has all the information, for example, that Ted and Bill would have. So what we're going to do is, over the next 30 days or so, bring everyone together, help them understand what was done in the past, and really just bring them up to speed as to where things were, and then take a look at that priority list. The next deliverable will be 20 July, or whenever that month's board meeting is. We'll bring a plan and give to the board and an actual timetable and a priority list as this group sees that. Now, this is an actual working document. Please understand, whatever gets put together, not unlike the last group when they did this, you know what, it's movable. We have to make some good estimates of where we are. Great example, 2 years ago, Swim and Racket Club, when we were doing some review, we found that the piers around the pool underneath were failing. Well, guess what? That project may have been 6 on the priority list, elevated because of the dangers, so it ended up becoming number 1 that year, and it got replaced. So this is a very fluid list, but we at least need to have a starting point. We at least need to have the framework. So this goes a long way to do that. And I'd like to thank Mr. Gomez and Mr. Terry, because we've been talking a whole lot about these, just to keep, deliverables when they felt it was important that I deliver these to the board for consideration. 15 September, and 15 September is critical because it's a month or 2 before the budget process starts. Okay, we're going to put together a process for how we organize and update the list. How do these steps occur, so there's a process in place so anyone can know and understand how the group's functioning and what the process is to prioritize the listing. And that will obviously help us as we roll into the budget planning this year. And then quarterly, we're providing, i.e., either manager's report or a separate item on the agenda, just an update on what's occurred in that quarter, so everybody knows. There should never be a surprise to this. This should never surprise anybody, whether it's a board member or a resident, of what's happening here. This is really just set in stone, or design the parameters so we can do a better job managing not only our facilities, but managing what our expenditures for those facilities may or may not be. And obviously, it's all subject to board approval. This group is just advisory function to help me get smarter so I can bring facts to the board, and then if redirected to go get more research or hey, let's X, Y, or Z, then we'll at least have a plan to do so. Questions, concerns about that? Yes, sir.
So just to be clear, your idea of the last recommendation by the 10-year planning committee, which is pretty much bubbled up through different meetings over the time, to separate out the implementation function, which requires a lot more intense and time-oriented, time-constrained work. And the planning function is to have the same people on both, doing both. I don't think that was...
I'm sorry, say that again?
Is to have the same people doing both. I don't think that was...
I separated them.
No, well, I see 3 of the same names on each of the committees. And by the way, let us, be honest about that. Those would be 3 of the driving people. The others would be relatively, actually not relatively, 100% new to the entire planning process with no background at all.
They would not be relevant? I'm sorry, I want to make sure I understand that.
What I said is that the others would have relatively no, well, not relatively, they would have no experience or no background in the history of the previous planning process. So, they're new people.
Correct.
This is your task force. Okay, you can do whatever you want with it, but I'll say right now, that wasn't the intent of what the committee recommended before. It's as far from it as you can get. Basically, okay. You're right back to where we left off and where we started, which wasn't a good place, by the way. As far as any of the other, I could go down the list. I'm not going to do it now, of where we actually stand in this process. and what hasn't happened since, almost a year. But again, if you're talking about an advisory group to me, I'm assuming that would this advisory group have regular meetings? Would they be open to the public?
It's going to be as needed, and these are going to be more staffing functions to help me get smarter about bringing information to you guys.
And you're going to regularly update us?
Oh, absolutely. You guys.
Every board meeting and a manager's report?
No, sir, I said quarterly. I just said.
Oh, quarterly, I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry, I mean, that's why I put it up there. I mean, I did quarterly by design. You're not always going to have new information each month on this group. And it's not something that's going to meet every week or two. It's going to be on an as-needed basis. And they're just advisory for me.
But not typical advisory committee. I mean, to you,
It's not a board committee, as I
Not a
understand.
board committee.
It's not a board committee. Not a board committee at all.
Got it.
Yeah. Mr. President? I mean, I welcome that. As some of you may know, I'm a little frustrated because it's been 9 months since our group, Dave and I, served on that. And as Bob had mentioned, it had been meeting for 18 months. And then, due to a variety of circumstances, we changed the board, changed the general managers, other factors. We simply haven't met. Ted Maroney had stepped down from the committee, task force. And my withdrawn motion on the report, as I spoke to earlier, was simply intended to bridge the gap between where we left off as a planning group last July 30th was, I believe, our last meeting, and this new group. So I applaud the initiative of the general manager to get this ongoing again. And again, I will have to you for that group that report that simply summarizes in one place instead of in a binder that's about that thick in the boardroom. We're still in the process of finalizing that, but it'll be to you very soon to have, and simply to bridge that gap from where we left off as a group 9 months ago, frankly, to today as a new group. Because as Dave pointed out, there's some new people in here. They don't have the benefit of the knowledge and background that Ted Maroney and Bill Rako do, and so it could be helpful to them. And so I was happy to have been part of that, and it's time for another group to get it going and work with the general manager. And I look forward to Bob as our new general manager coming to us, and just as it's outlined here in the various timelines. So I do have a motion that's in the packets. I withdrew the first part of that motion, and I'm prepared to withdraw the second, but substitute for it a different one. Bob hasn't seen this. And it says simply that I move that the Board of Directors approve the General Manager's plan to address the Association's major facility needs and encourage them to proceed with all due haste.
If this is a General Manager's Advisory Committee, and he can just simply do what he wants, why do we have to approve it?
We don't.
We don't.
We don't.
We don't. And if that's the preference of the group, then so be it.
I don't think we need to pass a motion to do that.
No, we don't. And what's
But
done
I think
is
that
done.
I think the board needs to
I
decide
will.
that, not just me or somebody else.
I will say that I think this is not starting up a committee where we left it off. I think the idea of having a planning committee and an implementation committee and the need for that, and then putting the same people on the same two committees, and the same people who were back there before, who agreed that we needed a different planning committee and a different implementation committee, or advisory, or whatever you want to call it. I said it just is just ludicrous.
Well, why'd you do it before? I mean, it's
We
ludicrous.
didn't, we didn't. I know all of the history of that, Bob.
I'm picking up from where they left off. Why get rid of that? Why not bring that corporate knowledge so we don't lose that? There was a lot of work and energy, as you know, that went into it. I recognize that, and I'm choosing to utilize it and not push it aside. So why is it a bad thing to be inclusive of some of those?
Because I think we recognize from experience, the entire committee did, where things went wrong, and a lot did. We ended up right into a dead end on the yacht club.
So that's why I had some folks with that experience to coach to make sure that
So
doesn't
part of the
happen again.
reason for that, and the members of the committee and the people that led it said this, is that, look, we're not really doing a planning function. I could pull up email after email at which the key people said this. We're not doing our planning function because we're getting into the details of implementation. Okay? There was the same people then, and they had the problem then. And you've got the same people now on both committees or advisory groups or whatever you say, and you're going to have the same problem
Well,
again.
if I respectfully disagree in this one case, who chaired or who was in charge of that committee at the time?
Bill Rayco.
Okay, well, it's...
I
Ted
disagree with that.
Maroney.
I disagree with Bill Rayco being in charge of it.
You disagreed with him, or that he is?
No, I
or that
disagree
he
with you
was?
that he was the guy in charge.
Let's put it this way. There were two people who drove that committee. Anybody that attended any of those meetings would know that, and that was Ted Maroney and Bill Rayco.
Correct.
Okay.
That's the answer to the question.
I attended almost every one of those meetings, not as a member, but as an interested party. And what you're saying is an oversimplification. There were 4 or 5 other people on that committee that had an awful lot to do with how it got bogged down, and they're not on the present committee that's being proposed. So I don't know whether this is a place to argue that point, but I see your point, but it's not the whole point at all.
Oh, no, it's not, Les. It's not at all the whole point. It's a much more complicated point than that.
Well,
And I would really suggest that this board hold a meeting on this to determine what exactly we believe needs to be done over the next year.
So you want the board to meet to tell the general manager how to do his job?
No, I don't think that's only, you know what? It's not only the general manager's job, and anybody who thinks that is dead wrong.
No, it's
At a
a
certain point in time, we have to, if we're going to do anything that's major, we have to go out to the community with a referendum. And we have to decide what's going to be in that referendum package. And we have to determine it's the most accurate and reasonable thing that we can possibly put out. And that's a board responsibility. It's not a general manager responsibility.
That's why I said I'd bring it to you guys for input.
All right, let me tell you something. This thing sat, after 18 months' worth of work, it sat since last June. Nothing happened. That page behind me is what has to happen. It's time to get off the schneid and get this thing moving.
Absolutely.
Well,
I'm sorry,
I
but it sat
disagree.
there, so that's fine, you have every right to disagree, but the general manager, we are calling on you to do what you had just presented to do by these dates. That will get us off the schneid and get things going. There was a good, solid work done that came to an end at the June or July of last year. It needs to be used as a base to move forward. You have a plan that you've put together here. You've informed us of that. If you don't perform and it doesn't work, we can step in and do something about it. But right now, we're going to move on to the next topic. Thank you.
No,
we are.
please, Mr. President,
I
please.
have to advise you that that's not appropriate, Tom.
Go ahead.
Okay. I agree with Tom Terry and what he just said. We need to move forward. Now, in light of Dave's comments about we should talk about it more and talk about it more, I'm prepared to make this motion that simply, as a board, we endorse what's being done by the general manager, because I'm concerned that in light of those comments, it may be interpreted that the board is not supporting what the general manager is planning to do. I, for one, am. I suspect that my fellow board members, the majority of them, would be willing to do that. If not, then fine. But I'd like to make that motion, Tom, if it's okay. And here it is. It's as simple as that. I read it a moment ago, and I was prepared to say I did say we don't need it. On the other hand, in light of the comments a moment ago, I think we do. I think we on the board need to get on record in supporting our general manager with this endeavor, with the timelines up there. We will have ample opportunity to have input, periodic reviews. These deadlines are there to be met. There is no more important function for this board than long-range planning.
Is there a second for this one?
Yeah, I'll second it.
All right. Okay. So it's been moved and seconded, right? Okay. There's no more important function to this board than long-term planning and the major facility needs of this community. I've been back in history, and this goes back 6 boards. We've been talking about, for 6 different boards, the need to move on with the major facilities renovations in this community. We need to get going. And I applaud the general manager for doing this, and I'm prepared to support it. I hope my fellow directors are as well.
Rick?
By the general manager's plan, And you see, Colin, that...
You can go back to the other slide as well. He's creating a group. He's outlined certain timelines.
includes the group, this group, and this one is information. This group and the dates seen on the next slide.
Yes, sir.
That's your plan.
Yeah.
But he's going to come back to us by June 15th.
I understand.
If he
All
proceeds
the dates he
Okay.
gave.
Yes. I understand what Dave is saying, because this time last year, about a year and a half ago, the newspaper's saying if we don't tear down the yacht club, the world's going to end. $3 million to replace it, $2.5 million, and it got to the point where absolutely nothing happened. So I understand exactly what Dave's talking about. We just don't want to go through that again. And I think
Clear that
that's
up a little bit. That is not really what came out.
That's true.
That's what a lot of people think came out.
which perception I was talking about.
Correct.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
not
yeah.
the way it went at all.
Absolutely.
What we said was, to fix this, the yacht club required X amount of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
Then the thought came up, well, if we're going to spend that much to fix it,
Right.
maybe we should think about a new one.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we did. That's all we did. Nobody said we had to tear it down. Unless we built a new one.
Well, I think we went a little further than that. That's a lot further than that.
Yeah, well,
One thing we did do,
Not really.
Les, and you'll recall this, and Dave, certainly you will recall it, we were on it. We came up to a dilemma because we had received bids. We had selected, actually, at the 10-year plan task force level, Lehman Construction as the successful bidder. They had offered us a bid of something like $2,300,000 for a major renovation, and they also submitted another bid for a couple hundred, well, actually $300,000 more, as you did the pluses and minuses, for a brand-new facility. We then said, as a group, we need to step back and look at this some more, because there were a lot of questions that were raised about, A, what was proposed as the alternative for the rebuild, as we ended up calling it, to tear down and build a new facility. And secondly, we questioned the costs as well as the design, the appearance, and so forth. So our next step we identified as getting back with Lehman Construction, getting back into those bids, refining that, and that never took place. So we sit right here, 9 months forward, with this project still on the table of evaluating the major rehabilitation option versus the rebuild option. It has not been done by anyone. We need to do that. So that's where we are, Ray.
I agree.
We left it on the table. It's 9 months later. I don't want to wait another 9 months. Let's get going.
I don't want to say.
And my objection to this is that we're not getting going and that we're going to end up in the same place. You brought
I hope not.
you brought up those issues. Okay. In fact, what happened is we decided that we would on Lehman, because they had the best proposal, we thought, to do a major renovation. The major renovation according to a statement of work that was provided to all of the contractors. They came in with an idea and actually presented the first time around a proposal that was lower than the cost of the proposal of the renovation. We subsequently found out, well, it was lower because it didn't have a top floor. Okay, and they didn't think they didn't know that we needed a top floor because they didn't know that we did banquets. All right, I'm oversimplifying, but I'm not really oversimplifying. You're nodding your head, Pete.
No, I'm
Then we said, yeah, all right. Now, what would it cost? The committee asked to get a rebuild with a real building, a whole building. Okay, that's when they came back with a proposal of 2.5 million about that. In the meantime, looking at the renovation costs and adding on the contingencies at a 20% rate, we got up to above 2 million. So there wasn't that much difference. But here's the problem. We never went out competitively for a designed facility. We never went out. We didn't do that. And moreover, I think the conclusion at the time is we couldn't just take the Lehman design. For one thing, a lot of people didn't really like it. And for another thing, we had no idea if that was the best we could get for $2.5 million. Anybody that saw the referendum would ask that. The second thing is If you do a my point is that there are a lot of complicated issues. And this isn't a step forward to resolving those issues, not at all.
And you're making my point, because we never went out and said, the sky is falling, we have to tear that building down.
Never, ever.
We never said that.
Well, Ray said that, not Dave.
No, not that we had to tear the building down. We said that there could have been a renovation, and it cost this much, or we have to rebuild it. But there is another point that you'll bring up, and there's somebody in this room who'll throw something at me if I don't mention it, is that when we do this, we go out for referendum, we have to tell people what is the minimum that we can do to this building. In other words, what is it going to cost us to make this? It won't be another 40-year building. It may not be a 25-year building, but at least to get it up to speed for the next, say, 15 years. And we've never pinned that down. Those are all hard things to do. And this
we're going to have input into this.
Doing nothing. When are we going to have input to
We
it?
also said, Dave, you will recall, there were a couple unfinished things. Number one, I described earlier, we had to go back and evaluate much more completely the Lehman proposals, number one. Number two, we also concluded unanimously that in fairness, we had to, if it was going to be a rebuild option, we had to put it out for additional bids. Even though we had selected Lehman as the preferred contractor, if that was the direction in which we wanted to go, a rebuild option, in fairness, we owed it to the community and to the other contractors that had not bid on a rebuild option, that opportunity. We also concluded that we needed to hire an architectural firm to help us with a conceptual design.
That was one of the things on the table. You're
All
right.
those things we said we should do, none of them ever got done. It's 9 months later.
That's right. And what I'd propose right now is that the general manager take that as an assignment, that specific thing, put together a team to address those issues. And by the way, the people that I think are on the team, should be on the team, are the ones you already have on it. That implementation team for the yacht club. I mean, get the people, and these are the people, you know, both Bill Rayco and Ted Maroney, who have the technical background to be able to do that implementation. And then create another team to do the planning and the long-range planning, and people that have a broader view of the community and are not going to get bogged down in the details. That's what, if you want to know what I suggest, that's what I do.
Is there any doubt in your mind that the highest priority project that's due to be delivered to us by July 20th is going to be the yacht club? Is there any doubt in your mind that that's the top?
You're putting me on the spot.
Yes, I am.
There is doubt in my mind, yes, sir.
Okay. So there could be other facilities?
There could be other facilities, yes, sir.
There could be?
There could be.
Okay.
It is one of the top three.
Well, and let me acknowledge that, too. You haven't asked me the question, and I know why. But anyway, we left off with a list that had the yacht club as the #1 priority. Yes, it is possible that there is another facility that has a higher priority today, a year later. So I don't know that. We left off with the yacht club being the highest priority. There could be other views on that. It could be this building we're in here right now. I'm prepared to let this process flow forward and take our existing list and really get into it and perhaps come back with a recommendation for reprioritization.
Well, here,
Ask me, I'll vote on the yacht club as the highest priority. That's where we left it.
I think it is too. I think it is too.
One quick thing. With the committee that he's chosen, my only concern is, I know Mr. Maroney, I know Mr. Rayco, he's not here 4 or 5 months a year.
He's going to be here up until that date.
Yeah, but that's not going to be the end of it.
This is the planning
That's the
function.
beginning.
planning function.
Who are you talking about?
Bill,
You know,
he'll
When
be here
Bill
long
was
enough.
involved, he used to regularly take a plane ride up here from Florida, even when he was down there, just to be
not
involved.
a concern, Rich.
Okay.
If
Not
he's
a concern.
involved, he'll
His-
be involved.
Yeah,
right.
that's
And that's up to the general manager.
That's not my issue.
I'm done. I mean, I think we need to support the general manager in this initiative.
All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed?
All right. Good. Thank you. I will withdraw my other motion. Okay.
Didn't know that. George Forbes here.
Okay.
All right, one more. Let me see. All right, last piece, on a more positive note, let's hope. Our quarterly newsletter is now at the printer. It should be coming out. This is pretty much what it is, as I did last month. I give you guys a preliminary copy of it. This is what's at the printers. But some things I wanted to point out, because I've had questions concerning the newsletter as well as some of the other print materials, i.e. our guide our activity guide. Let me just, everybody, a quick update. This is what it costs to do this year's newsletter, okay? Between printing, postage, and mailing, and design layout, $6,996, and you guys will be getting this in the next week or two in the mail, okay? Full color, full design. Now, I've had folks go, wow, it looks a lot better than what we had the one color before, but you're costing us, more money in doing it. We're not. We're doing things smarter. We've sold advertising in this of $71.50. Net result, we're $154 ahead by doing a full color document. Okay? I point that out because that's everything we do, we're trying to do smarter and more efficiently. Okay? And I think our product's coming out by holding some of the staff accountable for a higher product or higher production. We're getting it. We've got a great team around us. Something else I want to point out, which is very interesting on this, most people probably will not initially recognize this. Anybody know what that little box is?
Small nuclear.
On the,
Yes, but I'd be cheating. I was told.
It's on the front.
See this box here?
Again,
Some kind of a scan thing.
it's a scan thing. If you
Bingo.
have a smartphone, you can scan that document right off of any of these, and try it if you have one, and this whole document will be downloaded to you in a PDF format. So you can open it and read it at your leisure. And it works, trust me, I've tried it. Okay? So it's kind of cool. I mean, we're trying to make enhancements. Those that are more technologically savvy that say, hey, I don't want to read it now, but I'll scan it and read it, if I'm sitting in the airport or travel or whatever, you can scan it and actually read it. Okay? So we are trying to do things differently each and every day. So as the print and stuff come out, please take a look and know that we're not spending association dollars. We're actually either breaking even. As I said last month when we did the activity guide, we were ahead in that one. Printed 1,500 more, full color, and we're ahead in budget on that one as well. It's just having our staff look at things very, very differently.
You have to do something different.
You have to have the application. No, just a Barscan application. You got to download the app.
This is a very smart phone.
It's smart enough to ask for a few more bucks.
It does, dumb user, you got it.
All right. I think we've kicked this around. Any more questions about the manager's report?
Very good. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Dave, you and Jim Trummel, resolution update?
Yes. I, as per usual, will introduce Jim Trummel. We suspend the rules. And no, I sent out a memo to all of you guys telling you what was coming up, so I don't think I need any further introduction.
I'll work hard at making this as brief as possible. You have 3 resolution actions before the board. One is a draft dated 4/12 of an amended M02 amenities policy resolution. The second is a draft of a new resolution, no prior resolution topic in our resolutions. M08 dated also April 12th. It pertains to manuals that are in use within the association. The third and least important item is a continuation of a prior recommendation to cancel the group catering policy. I'll very briefly mention that at the end of my comments. For those members present who may be watching on the video or reading about the meeting in the newspaper, all of this resolution action information is available on the association's website under resolutions for review. The first item is M02. If you do not have copies of M02 and an accompanying cover sheet and M08, I have copies here available for you if you need them.
I think we need them.
Yeah, if you got copies.
They're not in our board package.
No.
No, I thought they were included. They're not.
Hang on a second.
I have my own.
See if you have enough. I like Tim, he always comes prepared.
Thank you, Jim.
This is the M02 and the cover sheet that goes with it. And followed immediately by the M08, which does not have any explanatory cover sheets. Since you apparently do not have this material in front of you, let me very...
We had it before, though, right?
As far as I...
Yeah.
It's been sent...
Yeah.
Oh, no, I know,
It was
no.
sent
we had
to the
it, but
board on the
It's just not in
21st,
our board packet.
and my
We've all
memo-
seen it before.
Yeah.
This is not new information.
Yeah.
It's not new information.
There is a cover sheet that accompanies the M02 draft that is concise yet complete in its description of how we came to that
Right.
amended resolution. Very briefly, we have taken existing resolutions, including ones that have been recently in the last year or two updated and approved by the board, as well as 4 old resolutions. When I say old, I'm talking about several years old, that have not been subject to the resolution review, and we have combined them into one single resolution. The cover sheet describes this as policy neutral. We've not made any changes. And the cover sheet describes how we have put it together. If you want to call it a change, the one thing that has been done with the old resolutions is to edit out provisions that have no current relevance, either duplicates or no longer reflect the policies and the operations of the association. If you would, these are some public comments that I have received to the M02 draft. These are comments that I've received by email. There is also a public comment that's incorporated into your 412 draft, in which at the top of the page 2, the yacht club was inadvertently omitted from a list of amenities, and that is in fact in the 412 draft. That was a public comment at the recent committee meeting. These 3 comments I submit to you because they were made to the committee. I received them by email. They are comments on provisions that have been in place in the association for some time, not just in recently, meaning last year or 2, approved resolutions, but in resolutions that go back in time. And this information for those present is not on the website. Very briefly, on page 2, paragraph 5C, the comment relates to the marinas and the beach club parking not being available to the general public, and the question was asked, why not? Why not have a fee structure that, like other amenities, differentiates between membership and non-membership in the association? The cover sheet does make a relatively similar comment, not similar, but does make a comment that there may be reasons to consider that now or postpone it for future events, if I can put it that way. And again, the committee has no comment on these 3 because we consider beyond our responsibility to be proposing changes. Page 4, paragraph 11. The provision limits the parking pass at the beach club to 1 per property. Why? That's the comment. Why? Why limit our revenue source in this manner? Also on page 4, subparagraph 12B, the provisions there require when there's a common ownership of a property, such as a corporation, partnership, a group of people as tenants in common, that the individuals have to have individual membership. There's no such thing as a property membership. The question is, does that inhibit people taking out individual memberships in that kind of situation? That does not pertain to the tenants tenants by the entirety of a husband and wife, but it applies to all other common ownership. And the question is that an inhibitor to people taking out membership? Again, those comments are submitted to the board for your consideration without any suggestions, recommendations, or whatever by the committee. That concludes my comment on the M02 amended draft. Can I answer any questions or listen to discussion? Whatever. Again, if you have not read the cover sheet, I highly recommend that you do so.
I have read this carefully, and of course I had the advantage of being at the meeting with Jim and Chuck Choate and the other members of the committee. One of the things that I noted, and I do agree that, at least as near as I can tell, this was policy neutral. In other words, they did a good job of transferring the information in the other policies into this one. So I mean, I think, near as I could tell, it's accurate. But okay, the problem I have, and I think you all should just judge it for yourselves, I'm not going to argue this point, is that MO2, I believe, is already in its original form. By the way, MO2, all the stuff in the black is what we already passed. Right. So that's, that's cool. We did it after a lot of discussion, and that's why I think it's as long and as bulky as it actually is. I mean, it's, board input. And adding these things on the back just increases the length. Now you do run into, then you also run into questions about, such as the public comments brought up specific questions. They didn't bring up any about MO2 original. They brought them up about the things that were added. There's a place in here that was added, which is how many? Where is it? The charter members. There's such a thing as charter members. And how many of them are there, Jim?
5 existing charter members.
5 charter members, and we've got a page and a half devoted. A page and a half devoted to what? For them. And in my reading, admittedly, I didn't, I read it fairly quickly through it. I couldn't figure out what the heck any benefit would be of being for those 5 people, because they look like everything that anybody in the room could do. So I guess, perhaps if we took you all could take some time, if you haven't already, and look at it, and if you have an opinion, if you think it's fine, I don't have any problem with that. If you think
You at this point,
I'm going to defer on that question. I think they did what they said they were going to do. I personally believe I would prefer to have the information added, separated out. The first document is sort of a broad amenity policy, and we tried to hit the big issues. The second one, such as the charter members and specific membership rules and things, are down in the noise. I would like to see those more easily changeable without having to go back and redo the whole one MO2. But again, I'm not.
Just to make a brief comment. Obviously, you can go 2 different ways. You can continue to have separate resolutions for separate aspects of the amendments, or, as we have recommended in our draft, one resolution and look at regarding
All right. Then what do? They have to read the details and sure that they're still really valid. And so maybe we have to do that.
To what extent is it different than we were previously provided?
It's not.
It's not.
It's not.
It's all on your emails. March 21st would be.
This
It's just distributed by email.
It was just by
A
email.
couple weeks ago or 10 days ago or
Yeah.
something, right by you? Yeah, okay.
I personally have gone that the draft said, you know, there.
Yeah.
If you want to do that,
Is that right?
I believe you should, yeah, we should read it before we
Then that's fine, fine,
decide
fine.
anything. And you know, again, you know, I heard the arguments, not arguments, the rationale, that's the right word, the rationale for doing it this way. And, you know, I would like to know what the rest of the board thinks. And also, if we agree that this is just adding these on and getting rid of the old ones is okay, then we should look at things like that charter membership page and a half and decide whether or not that really has to be there or not, and bring up those points.
It's all good to consider this the first reading.
First reading.
right along. Topic for a resolution. In the resolution. At least a year, maybe as many as 2 years ago, we recognized that we have a variety of documents in the association which are listed on an appendix to the draft that you have that have various policies, procedures, operating type policies, procedures. They range from the emergency plan to financial manual documents that are not recognized and have no particular control requirements. This is an effort to recognize what is a manual and to place a requirement that they be maintained current. In particular, there's a requirement that there be a biannual review for the adequacy of something that is identified. Again, this is a new topic, never before existed.
And annual review?
Biannual, every 2 years.
Biannual, every 2? Okay.
That's correct.
Bob has reviewed this, hasn't he, not, Jim?
Yeah, there's been some wording changes in there, Bob, but I don't think they changed what you've seen before. And we did incorporate that one comment down there. Last but not least is the group catering policy. Technically speaking, this is up for a second reading. You can take action today if you want to or not. In the January meeting, we recommended it be canceled because there's no meaning to it anymore. The pricing and estimating and everything else is being handled basically at the general manager's level.
Where it should be.
And it's not relevant to a board resolution. I was going to say you could delay it, cancel it, at the same time you act on
I'll accept the
M02.
motion.
Let's do something.
Why don't we, let's get
You want to make the motion?
Make a motion to cancel to get rid of it.
Way to go, Ray.
It'll come up again.
I'll second it.
Second, all in favor, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, my last comment is that the M02 draft as it exists, and I think is any action taken, will complete the resolution review process that was commenced almost 3 years ago, about 2.5 years ago.
Good work.
That's right.
You won't have anything to do, Jim.
Well, we'll talk about that.
We'll find some
I'll remind people in the room too that M02 is on the association website, and anybody who wants to weigh in with comments is
Yeah.
more than free to do so.
My email address is there, for better or for worse, so.
Yeah, send them to Jim. I mean, yeah.
Jim, that would be, I think we should celebrate when we get that last one done.
Jim, as representing the board, thank you, and your whole team. The work has just been, I'm glad you did it. That's a lot of work to do this.
Tremendous perseverance.
Absolutely. This is a lot of work to try to organize all this and making some sense.
And we're let me say, Bill Rako started this. 3 years ago, I said, this is going to be harder than the bylaws, and it was. He persevered through it.
He really did.
Yeah, I mean,
He wouldn't let it go.
On to the fencing and the dog park.
Okay, just an update. Last month, it's been mentioned, this is, I was coached, it was the third board meeting, it's been brought up. One of our members brought it up 2 board meetings ago. I discussed it last month. Some questions were posed of me on the 2 potential site locations, Bainbridge Park and Manklin Park. They were the 2 areas we were looking at. And I'm sorry Mr. McLaughlin's not here to hear it, but he asked me how many parking spaces. There are 10 to 12 parking spaces at Bainbridge Park. Manklin Meadows, there are 35 parking spaces, and I hope there's no tennis members about to hit me with a racket, but there is some overflow on the tennis on the paved side as well. Bainbridge, some of the advantages, nice high area with good drainage. The particular area, so that it doesn't really back up to any homes. Downside to that particular area, it is secluded. So from a safety perspective, I had the opportunity to speak with residents that are either calling me or emailing me or stopping in to talk about the dog park. You know, some concern highly impact the image, and my opinion is just space over time. Manklin has a high traffic area. There are a lot of folks there, so safety was not as big a concern there. There are areas when you first turn onto ground. If you look to the left, we have a rather sizable spot of land there. It is wooded, but that would be the area proposed. It's to the south side of the basketball court.
Drainage ditch runs through there.
Drainage ditch towards the back of it, yes,
Yeah,
sir.
okay.
Yep, that's exactly where it is.
Okay.
So that would be the other location that should be considered. That area would not necessarily be a true rectangular, you know, if you're looking from aesthetics because of that drainage ditch. We did, speaking with Public Works, consider options of putting a culvert pipe and, you know, using that as the drainage, but quite frankly, I just don't think that's, you know, from a cost standpoint, the wisest move right now. But access there is very, very good. We're still, last month I told you the numbers were between 20 and 25,000. They're still good numbers. We didn't actually go out for bid on anything, just because I didn't think it was appropriate to ask for bids at this point. We haven't even approved the consideration of moving forward, but I did do the additional research. Now that total cost includes plants, mulch, benches, some signage. I mean, I had to take all those into consideration. It's not just fencing. Any further questions?
Bob, that area there, how much of it is non-treed, where there'd be some running room?
On the Manklin?
Yes.
There are trees everywhere there.
That's what I thought, it's all...
Yeah, that's more wooded. Now, it's not, I mean, there's certainly, I went down there and walked
there. Are there any areas where there'd be
there.
an open...
Bainbridge.
Well, I meant at Manklin, the answer's no.
No.
Okay.
Now, there are a number of residents here. As I spoke last month, Mr. Leverling has been in to see me, and we've talked a lot. Research that I needed, that the board asked me for last time.
Yeah, I guess for me, and maybe I'll get to you in a second, for me, I just like the game plan presented here. I mean, you know, is there private fundraising going on? Are we going to name the park? You know, some dog food company pay to have their name on it to help pay for it. You know, just what is the plan?
Where's Teresa?
That is, where's Teresa?
She's not here at the moment.
That is, you know, I mean, that's kind of what I'm looking for, is just what is the proposal? I'm hearing a lot of, Ray, go ahead.
I think we can get there.
Yeah.
Ray, then Ray.
I was first.
You're first.
I'm first.
I defer to
Okay.
age.
The dogs don't care. what the shape of the park is. What is
Now, for
really
clarification, have you checked with the dog?
actually, I'm very proud of the fact that that was so quiet the whole time he's been. Really well behaved. He just don't ask.
Doing the joke?
Huh? No, no.
Oh.
No, that's a toy dog. That's not a real dog.
Did you just,
I just
just
picked
notice that was a toy dog?
That's right.
Okay. I think it's more important, as far as my two little dogs are concerned, to have a place to run. Being running around the trees, bushes, where they could maybe get fleas and ticks and stuff like that. Bainbridge Park, even though it is a little bit more isolated, to me, seems a little bit more logical place because it'll give the animals more place to run. And secondly, I'm 100% more, and let's get one done, because there are too many people. Well, I wasn't looking for applause. I have two little dogs. But I think this thing would be utilized. If we build it, they will come.
Absolutely. You get a free dog.
Yeah. I don't want another dog.
You call him a dog?
Dave?
Yeah, there's been, I mean, I don't disagree with what Ray says. I mean, there's been enough requests in all of the years I've been on the board. Individual people have come up to me and
good
time to
thing,
time.
at a very modest cost.
All the time. So should do it. That's no problem. But I just wondered, you know, you hear like from Mr. Leverling and from different other persons, just as I have over the years, just before we make any final decision on where and what, would it be worthwhile to just have a meeting for interested parties, you know, to talk about it so you can get, you know, a broader cross-section? Yeah, you know, I mean, it doesn't have to be a big deal, but...
Just to get input?
Just to get input, and it doesn't have to be a long time. I mean, if you know, a week from now.
Rick?
Everybody will say yes, but...
Well, I think, we want to do something. I hear that here. So let's just do something and get it done. Stop piddling around, like Ray said.
Piddling.
And get it done. And the only question I have is the 25,000. Where can we get it? Where does it come from? How do we make it happen? Other than that,
What I'm getting at,
I'd also like to know is, from the public, is do they want Bainbridge or Macon? Or is that, you know,
Yeah.
what's their,
We get
Yeah.
I don't want
I
to
don't,
decide.
we're going to decide. I'd like to hear from them on what they would think would be their choice.
Well, let me just add one more quick little thing here. I, as a dog owner, would be glad to put a little money out of my pocket to help put this thing together, and I know a lot of people would, and there are other people that would help sponsor this thing. I don't think the cost is something that we have to consider or really worry about. What we have to worry about is, let's get the thing done.
Ray, I agree with you. I think the support would be there and people would be willing to chip in, like,
Yeah.
so that's not an issue. It's getting the right location
Yeah.
and being able to meet the specifications.
And seeing, yeah, that's the real point. I think it'll work like the skateboard park did.
Exactly.
And that was a lot more money.
I'm
I
willing
think
to-
everybody here supports the idea. It's just a question of making the right choices for location. And
I'm willing to suggest a motion from someone that we empower the general manager to move forward, and just like he has done and Teresa has done in advertising in the newspaper, so, you know, so that we're not even paying for the publishing of our own newsletter, or take the same kind of concept. However you word this, somebody take a couple minutes to write this down and figure it out, and be more than, Ray, if you want to do that, you know, because I want to write down motions and read them before we vote on them, new concept. Just, because I think this is something, it's another one, this is get off the schneid. It's
Let's
time to
do
move.
something,
And empower the general manager to make it happen, and I certainly look for the general manager to raise all $125,000 from somebody other than us.
125 now?
125. Oh,
Just testing to make sure he's listening.
That's his percentage.
That's his take.
Is there,
This is gonna be a high
Mr.
class,
Levering
dog.
willing to lead up an effort to spearhead the fundraising dimension of this?
We have spoken to a resident. If we can separate from the rules for just a moment.
Yeah, let's get to it.
Go ahead, Mr. Lane.
Yeah, thank you very much. We thank the board for the attention you're giving this, and I have many supporters. I have over 300 and some signatures here with phone numbers, addresses, and so forth. And this is the tip of the iceberg, friends.
That's right.
We had a couple more people just come by and see our little doggy here on our little chart and said, hey, I want to sign up too, and they signed up.
So I think we have the ample support. This is the tip of the iceberg. And we thank you for your consideration. It's been an amenity that's needed in this wonderful community for some time. And our estimates on some of the things we've talked about, I don't even think it's 25. I think it might be about 18. And the support I'm hearing, as Ray had mentioned, people that would use this park might be willing to open their checkbooks a little bit and come forth with some ideas. I have many supporters here. Would they raise their hands that are here in support of the dog park? Thank you for coming. Some had doctor's appointments, canceled them. They're killing me, but they're here. And we appreciate that. If you'd like further comment, some of the folks wanted to say a couple things, but it's up to
I
Chairman
think
Terry.
we're, in all due respect to the time, I think Ray is writing the motion. It's going to get this thing.
We're excited
While
about
he's
it.
writing the motion.
We're excited about it, and we appreciate all your good efforts.
And yours, thank you.
While Ray is writing the motion, is it reasonable, Bob, that you can come back to us with a specific site suggested
Yes,
in the final next meeting?
I think, yes,
That-
I think
that's what-
Mr. Stevens' approach of having,
Just getting all those 300 people together and get some input.
Happy to do it.
Okay, while Ray is writing this, let me move on to the YMCA because I don't want to interrupt Carrollton Lane discussion with anything else. As you all know, gentlemen, we received the negative response to the appeal that we had towards the YMCA location. As you all know, we met with legal counsel last week in closed session discussing the legal matter. At that session, just so that we publicly announce, there has been reasonable amounts of money spent to this point in fighting this case. I can tell you that I don't give up easily, and neither does this board. But there is a time when you have to simply say, move on. I don't think it's right. This is just me speaking. Don't think it's appropriate, the way this all turned out. But the board did vote last week to close the book on that issue, and we will not be appealing that case any further. So just make sure that we made in public forum the announcement of what we had taken, the decision we had made. Comments are welcome if you want.
Advice on, I just mentioned advice of it. We followed the advice of our attorney.
Counsel, sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay, Ray, you ready to?
Okay, are we ready? Okay.
Okay.
Request the general manager to move forward to start on location and construction of a dog park in Ocean Pines to location. First, we have to vote on the construction of Ocean Pines and coordinating with residents who have an interest as far as payment is given for payment.
Now, would the board vote on a location? Is that what you just
Well,
said?
I think your recommendation is most important.
Well, I think we should.
Yeah.
I would offer an amendment there to say, what do you say about cost? To get bids.
Coordinate, yeah,
To be-
to get
I would
bids,
say to
right.
get bids.
Right.
Right, and that, because if it's contracted over 15,000, we're gonna have to approve it anyway.
Yes,
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
So I would just change that
Construction
word
bid,
to
okay, bids, all right.
to obtain bids for the cost of the project, something like that, okay?
Well, you're in a,
You would actually get bids.
yeah.
Yeah.
As far as the
Ultimately,
It's like he does on backhoes.
We have to do that,
you know?
and we'll have to
We have
vote
We have to
for
do
it.
that anyway,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, as far as the location goes, we're not,
But he had said earlier that he was reluctant
One
to
of
move
those two.
forward because, so
Right.
we authorized him to get bids, come back to us, and got 3 bids.
I second the motion.
discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Good.
Carrollton Lane.
Carrollton Lane.
What in the heck? You've been doing homework.
God.
I could drop them, they're so daggone heavy.
Okay.
I want time to think about it.
Yeah.
Read this and then come back and we'll vote.
Okay. Now, what I tried to do, well, as you can see, that's a pretty thick packet on Carrollton Lane. Okay, I tried to get as much information for you folks, for the board members here, so they could make an informed decision, to say the least. This is for your reading pleasure. The can's been kicked down the road many, many times, and as you read through this, you're going to see it's been volleyed back and forth between the county and Ocean Pines, who has authority to make the decision, who does not have the authority. I'm going to point out in a couple just quick things in here just for you all to consider when you're looking at this. There are and it's just before the yellow tab where it says Other. This is not a new issue, and we've included some newspaper articles with a lot of information, you know, about county officials, their quotes on the issue. You know, so if you read through here, it's really going to enlighten you onto how much gray area there really is. You know, the deeper I dug, the grayer it got. There was no clear, it's right or wrong to do one way or the other from the county or us, who has the authority to make that. But I didn't want to make that decision without giving you all the information to include the late, yes, sir.
I didn't want to interrupt you, I just want to, but anyway, I've already done that, so. It's a turnover agreement.
Turnover agreement is not in here, no, sir.
Is it meant
Is it
to be-
relevant?
Is it involved in the turnover?
Is it relevant? Yeah,
It's irrelevant.
Is it relevant?
Yeah.
That's the whole thing,
It
really.
did not appear there was relevance, but I'd be happy to copy it for everybody. I tried to give you all of the correspondence that I could find on the matter. The top page, when you first open it, the document's dated April 5th, 2011. This is from Mr. Moore, our attorney, and he explains the matter pretty good in this 3-page document. Of course, he's been directly involved. Mr. Hammond was a partner of his who was the county attorney for a number of years, so he has a lot of intimate knowledge about it. This was a tough one. The challenge that I have, quite frankly, as I try to read through here, and if you'll see the email section, I've received at least 30 emails, which you have in there, in favor of a change, 6 emails opposed to the change. As you can imagine, those opposed live on Carrollton Lane. Those who do not live on Carrollton Lane. So, I mean, that should be of no surprise. The challenge it's created, which is interesting, this is like a family feud. I mean, these are our residents. No matter what we do, you're going to make one part of the family mad. So I talked to the chief about it. We did some surveillance down there. A couple folks actually called me because they got pulled over for making a turn through the one-way stop, but to my point, they were given warnings. And we also tracked the speed down there because speed had come up as an issue. So we tracked that for a number of days, and the chief's memo is in there in the orange section. You'll notice his memo to me regarding it. The primary thing is the speed down Carrollton Lane was at the posted speed limit. We had been told folks, you know, a lot of speeding down the road. We didn't see any now. That's not to say it doesn't occur, and we're also not entering into the busiest, you know, we're not in the busiest season when this was done, so it's a little unfair to say it doesn't happen. I think every street it happens occasionally. But this, I tried to get as much information for you all that I could to include, you know, Mr. Moore, county officials, everything else. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I have a question. Maybe. The next to last paragraph, actually.
We're looking at it.
Joe Moore's letter of April 5th, 2011, third page. The paragraph starting in conclusion, when the issue was formally brought to light, the responsibility for the determination of Carrollton Lane's configuration and any subsequent change thereto was the responsibility of the county commissioners and not the Ocean Pines Association. And my question, Bob, you having been all the way through this, is anything I'm going to find in the back of this going to change that or my mind? Or
I believe if you read through here, there's some conflicting information that may change your mind on this, and that's why I put it in this format. You have county officials, specifically Mr. Hammond, who was the county attorney at the time, that was quoted saying this was an Ocean Pines decision. This one's as gray as they come. There's
okay, so we got to read the whole thing. I just was hoping.
I really, no. I thought it would be easy. I really thought as I dug through this was going to be a simple answer. You know, someone somewhere would give a clarity of exactly what it is. It's about as clear as mud on this one. The developer and Mr. Whitlock of the county petitioned to have it one way, yet the county, and you'll find this as you read through here, yet the planning and roads person at the time disagreed with it being one way. So there's conflict in the county, there's conflict if we had any input, and we did not have input on this, and that's clear in all of the
Do you
reading.
have have you any current, I don't want to say ruling, advice from the county on if we change this and say, okay, I'm not predicting that we will or one way or the other, but if we do and say, okay, we're just going to, can we just change the road, just go do it, take down the signs, and or is the county going to say, hey, it's not, I mean,
No, the impression, because I've spoken to several county officials, the impression I have, only impression, I could not get a letter or anything to say yes, we would, was that if we as a board made a determination that we would like to change that road configuration, that we could submit it and the county would approve it. That's the indirect feedback I received.
okay, so they still need to approve it. That's an answer.
That they would support a change if the board wanted to change.
If we want to change, they.
If the board doesn't want to change it, it'll stay as is.
Rats.
This is a situation is we're damned if we do and we're damned if we don't, but it's a situation I think we're going to have to resolve one way or the other. People have been sitting on this thing for 12 years and the same complaints and everything, and one way or the other, it's going to I think this board is determined to go ahead and at least make a final decision.
So we're going to read this, come back.
Put it on the agenda maybe next month.
Discuss it.
I just want to clarify one thing. I'm going to step aside from the rules here for a second with folks in the audience. I'm assuming that some of the folks in the audience wrote emails into this. I'm proposing that this package we were just given would be made available for people to see at the office in Ocean Pines, but they were emails that were sent in. Is there any objection from anybody here that if you did send an email in here that it be included in the package that's viewable by citizens, residents, and media and everything? Does anybody have any objection?
Inappropriate language or anything like that?
Because I don't want to be taking people's personal emails and making them public.
Yeah.
Well, I would say
It's
this.
my only concern.
Well, let me throw this out there. If it's appropriate, how about if I have one of these books in the lobby for folks to stop in and look at, because it's a rather thick document, but I take the email out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that's got personal, people's personal email. If I just pull the emails out, I can assure you 30 are for and 6 are against, but there are many more people that would chime in on the issue that may not have sent an email. Just know those that don't live on Carrollton Lane primarily are for it, those that do are against. I mean, that's the simple.
And that works for me. That's my only concern.
Yeah, take the emails out.
Take the emails out, I'll leave it for.
So we're just going to read it, use our best judgment, what we think, and
And it'll be unanimous.
no, I wouldn't think so. I don't know, maybe.
I'm sorry, sir?
Is there a document from Chief Massey?
There is, under police.
Please attach.
Yeah, we have a input from Chief Massey. Now, what I would recommend, though, is in all honesty, again, you're the board, you're going to have to make the decision, but I wouldn't kick the can down the street any longer than next month.
No.
I mean,
Next month? Not until next month?
or whenever. I mean,
It's only been around, how long has it been being discussed?
Yeah, but we need to close.
Yeah, right,
We can't have a month?
yeah.
I said by next month, if we can make a
Oh, I think so.
decision.
I can read this.
That should be our goal, right?
Absolutely.
That would be my recommendation.
Watch, there'll be one person missing, it'll be 3-3.
Any input, just so anybody knows, please reach out to your board member. My email's been overflowed with this issue. Please.
What he's saying is
Share
the
with
board's
your
going to make
That
a
email.
decision.
Share with your board.
Lee Thompson at Ocean Pines.
Share the grief.
All right.
That's right, share.
All right, well, we have our master's thesis work. This is thicker than my master's.
I tell you, it was a lot of reading.
But that's okay.
Thank you, Bob, for that work.
Thank you, Bob. This is very thorough, but I would like to see the turnover document, just in case there's something in there. Okay.
We'll let you review it and let us know if there's anything that we ought to,
Yeah, well, I'd like to see it myself.
well, that's what I mean.
You know me,
Would you act on behalf of the board and do that? So we don't all have to read it?
No, I'm going to give it to you to read. I'm not going to act on behalf of the board now. All right, so, all right, moving on to the Elections Committee change. Basically, this is just for your review and consent. This is the Elections Committee. The only major change here is that Diane McGraw has recruited a new chairperson for the committee. That would be Judy Butler. The other members on the committee will be Kay Gibson, Kathy Muncy, John Topher, and Dave Stevens continues to be the liaison to this committee. If there are no objections, this is the group that's going to be doing the work on our election coming up. Dan has done a great job over the year in putting this together, and she's looking at her time on the committee is, her time to serve is running out, so she correctly came to Dave and myself and said, what if we recruit a new chairperson, and Judy has agreed to do that.
Does this require a motion to approve?
Dave?
No, it doesn't.
No, okay.
It's without objection.
Without objection?
Okay.
Pete, you remove these? Yep. Okay, appointment to, you got in your packet.
Learning advisor.
This is the Sharon Conley. We didn't have the signatures on this form at the last meeting, so just wanted to get without objection, we will move forward in this. Appoint her to the Marine Activity Committee. Objections?
I'm really not John McLaughlin, but he had previously signed another piece of paper, so.
Right. The chairperson had signed it, so. All right, so that's taken care of. And Mr. Unger.
Well, I already made the motion, but I can do it again.
I gave it to Phyllis. When did you make?
On the dog.
We already voted on it.
We already
voted on it.
This is your,
No, for the
You have another motion.
your other county
commissioner meetings.
Oh,
Did you forget that?
my brain broke. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
The motion's very simple. Have one board member attend each county commissioners meeting in Snow Hill monthly.
Just to clarify, these are the official, not
county.
every single meeting they have.
Yes, that's correct. Open for discussion.
I have a question.
Fine.
If it's a motion, does that bind future boards until such time as the motion is rescinded? I believe that's the case. So this is a permanent, by putting it into a motion, we make it applicable to all future boards until such future boards may rescind that motion, correct?
Yes.
Yes, that's correct.
That's the consequence of a motion. It's permanent unless dealt with otherwise.
Yes.
And I believe it's important enough to put it in that position.
Okay.
No.
Because we could do
Do I
it
have a
without a
second on this
motion.
motion?
We could do it without a motion, but
I'll second for discussion.
Okay, now
I see what
I
Pete's
got
problem is, and I do too. I have a problem.
we, does it rise to the level of that? I think it's a great idea, by the way, okay? And I'm willing to say, yeah, let's do that. But in terms of its relative importance in the scheme of motions, and which is effectively legislation, I question whether or not that's the wisest path. There was a relatively simple motion a couple years ago that was passed on, I wasn't even on the board then, and it was passed. I think there were only 5 members there, and it passed 3-2 or something. It was sort of innocuous, and I tried to get it changed later, and it failed by virtue of a tie vote to rescind it. And it continues on to this day, and nobody pays attention to it, but there it is. So anyway, I offer that for thought. I think it's a great idea. I support it. I'm willing to do my share of attending it.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying there, because at one point in time, when I first got on the board 4 or 5 years ago, we did that, and it lasted for about a year, and then it kind of, for one reason or another, somebody didn't show anything. What I'm saying to say, even if it's just a matter of board policy rather than a motion.
Right.
Rather than a motion, to have one person down there, it's important that we understand what's going on. Every one of those meetings, they have this thick, I gave it to you yesterday, of information that's going on in the county that lays down there with our name on it, that stays down there till next month. And that information should at least come back here and we understand what it is.
I agree.
That's why I think it's important. Now, I can change that to make it a matter of policy rather than a motion that if you don't go, you get shot or something like that.
Well, it's not only that.
Parliamentarian.
I mean, the second thing is I have, I don't know, really within the purview of this board to make a motion that's going to, affect the next 3 board members that come on. But I do agree that we could say that I move that it's as a matter of policy, this board will attend meetings and of the county commissioners.
That I will insert as a matter of policy.
And recommend to succeeding boards that they do the same thing.
As part of the discussion here, Ray, and you and I have talked about this, I have asked you if you would be willing to coordinate us to make sure we get this covered.
Of course.
We had 4 people yesterday, so we have the ability.
One every
to get
7
people
months,
down
that's all we're talking about.
Yeah, that was a couple of my interests.
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple of interests there.
Does the
but,
attendee have to wave a flag while he's sitting?
No, they'll know you. They'll know you're there.
They'll know you're there. So any other discussion on this?
No.
Policy?
We do have to get it written down.
Yeah, you do have to write it down.
We'll just change a couple words. Or is it not written down?
No, it's not written down.
It's not written
Scribe
down.
again, right?
Why don't we just, we have to write it down because it's a motion. Ray, how about just
I'll do it.
ask the board for agreement that this board will, without being a formal motion, that this board agree to have someone, right?
And put it in the minutes?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
How's that? Without the formality of a motion, we can write it down. all
That's
that.
fine. That's
You
fine.
withdraw
They
your
meet
motion.
twice a month, not once a month.
Well, whatever the official meetings are,
Yeah.
that's.
And you might want just to consider reviewing the agenda beforehand and decide whether it's necessary for you to go there.
Because we don't want to be violating motions.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have a suggestion that the board,
I withdraw that motion.
Okay, and then we'll,
And make a request that it be policy that somebody attend the regular meetings of the county.
and we'll agree. And
I agree with that.
And we can check with our commissioners.
we all agree with that?
To determine what the matters of interest.
Unanimous
Stay in
agreement.
touch with you, Jimmy.
Unanimous agreement?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Ray, and you'll
Except for
coordinate that activity?
Yep.
Okay.
I'll coordinate it with you.
Burbage property discussion.
We decided to push that?
Well, I just want to make sure that people know that that's what we decided.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
we're proposing to the group to
Postpone that.
postpone that at this point until we can gather even more information at this point, since they've delayed their meeting, so it's not critical. Okay, equipment?
Yeah, a couple of things, and gentlemen, I don't think these were in your board packets. And what's that? Okay, but you have them. Just a couple of equipment purchase items.
No, here they are, here they are. Which one?
I didn't think I had.
There's 3 of which I have 2. The third stack is sitting on my desk. Quite frankly, the move, I grabbed what I thought I needed. So let me just throw a couple of these at you so you know what they are.
I've got a couple.
Yeah, there's another one here too.
Yeah, these are all budgeted. They are in the budget. They've been approved. Okay, but one of them, let's start with the Z mower. Obviously, grass is starting to come up. Having the Z mower by May 1st, we will not actually order it until after May 1st, on or after May 1st, so it's in next year's budget. But I don't want to wait until the end of May when we meet again to say, yes, we can buy a mower that was already approved in the budget. This actually does not need board approval by the dollar amount, but I think it's appropriate when we do a capital purchase like this, because it's below 15. So. But I just wanted to bring it to your attention, and unless anybody has any concern about, we're going to place this order for receipt after May 1st.
Okay.
Everybody okay with that?
Yep.
Any question?
Yeah. I'm sorry I opened the page, but we have 2 bids from the same person. I'm looking at the
Two
Z
different
mower.
setups, but we didn't, there were they recommended 2 different mowers to meet that.
Okay, so there are 2 different mowers.
Yeah, it's just a different configuration, but we didn't choose that bidder anyway, so we went with Banks.
With thanks to the low bidder.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, just FYI, I mean, this was just so you gentlemen had.
So we did compete the business.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the important point. That's the only thing we
Yes.
need to see. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
The second of the 3 items, and this one I do have, is the backhoe, which was a huge discussion point during the
I'll speak to
budget
that in a little
process. Okay. Typically, it's a 10-year turnover. We're on year 12 with this particular backhoe. You'll notice that this was, by the way, approved, and it is in the approved budget. But there's a delay. If we order it now, our hopes is to get it by August or September. That's how, because they don't keep these, on the lot. This is something they order. The backhoe, this particular unit's used for loading salt, dredging, those type of things. It has been approved for 3 years, but we've been able to keep it together for 3 years and not have to order it, but we'd like to go ahead and place the order. And this one is above the 15,000, so bringing it to everyone's attention, see if the board has any objections to placing that order now.
We need a motion to
One of
approve.
these is
I think so.
the winner.
Do you?
Yeah, it's above the 15.
Yeah.
What's
So we have
the
to
actual
approve it
amount? I'm
formally.
seeing various
Which is the
numbers
bid?
here. Which one?
The bid is recommended by staff. The first one, $79,575.
Bethel Farm Equipment.
Yes. And if you look at that page, you also notice it's less than what we had budgeted for it.
Well, that's what I was saying.
The pricing's just better right now, so we want to place the order because pricing's aggressive right now.
I move that we
Well-
purchase the equipment.
I'll second it.
Discussion?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
As long as I can drive it.
Bob and I are smiling at each other because this was one example offered up in the public presentation of the budget for this past year. And we decided to give a couple of examples as to replacement reserves and how they work. And the backhoe was one of them, and we had two F-150 trucks and two F-250 trucks, if you recall, Ray.
Yeah.
And the original cost of this item that's being replaced was $50,000, and we budgeted $100,000 for its replacement. So we put $50,000 of depreciation into the reserve fund to fund the replacement for that backhoe. Unfortunately, we put 50 in, and now we're going to have to take out 79. And this goes on and on and on and on. We put the depreciation in the pot, in the cookie jar, and then we take it out of the cookie jar to pay for its replacement, except that the price is different. So this is another example. The backhoe became one of those examples that we highlighted. This is it, right? So 79 grand, it's better than 100,
Yeah.
and that's a good thing. But it's still better than 50, and we only put 50 aside for it.
Is our current backhoe worth anything?
Yes, we
They all-
auction,
they all-
we
they all-
auction our equipment after.
Is that off 79?
No, only, I can't have it there. It'll offset it once we sell it, but I can't include it here. We don't know what we'll get for it.
That'll be taken into, yeah.
But it is,
So
yeah, when we sell or auction.
79, it's really going to cost us.
Yeah, but I can't, that's one of those,
Right. Understand.
Yeah,
that's a wag, and I can't do that.
and it's on the books at zero right now.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's been moved
Call the
second.
question.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
All right, the last one, and I apologize for not having the document here, is a replacement of one of the Crown Vic police cars. It is in the budget. It was approved. We've gotten 8 bids in, Chief?
I think we have 5.
Five bids on that
To
one.
replace it with the Explorer?
The replacement, this one's an actual Expedition.
Oh, Expedition, okay, yeah. All
Expedition.
right.
This is the four-wheel drive unit we
Right.
talked about through the budget
Yeah.
process. We're recommending low bid. The approximate cost on the bid is $26,000. And then there's some and again, that wouldn't be on the bid, but then we do equip, and there's about $3,500 for equipping for the police unit, radio, the other thing, the lights and everything.
Yeah.
But that's not usually on the bid sheet. But with your approval, we'd like to place that order as well. Again, we're getting things in because with the economic conditions, pricing seems to be pretty good right now, so we're sending it out to see what we can get.
Refresh my memory, what was the budgetary level for that?
32?
32?
The bids are very low.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got a really good price.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Rick,
Second.
Discussion?
Call question?
Call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
That's it for me.
Okay.
Now you can get to work when it snows, Dave.
Okay, public comment.
First of all, I'm Cheryl Mills. I urge you, because the chief invited the Ocean City chief to the neighborhood watch meeting tonight, I would urge some of you, particularly a board member or two, to attend. It's embarrassing to have a guest and no one show up. show a little interest. All right, the next thing, I realize that there's still some tweaking to be done on the pool deck, food and beverage thing at night. It would seem to me that it does not make sense to have that area open after the pool is closed. After the pool is closed, because after the pool, you're talking about a lifeguard.
Yes.
And then you're also talking about policing the area afterwards and busing. I mean, how many people are going to want to sit out there and eat with the mosquitoes after the pool itself is closed? And it just doesn't make sense to staff a lifeguard when the pool is closed.
Carol, if I may, the first comment, the neighborhood watch is when and where?
This evening, tonight at the community center.
At the community center.
At 7 o'clock?
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
Thank you.
Put on those feet, short floor guy. I got something to say, I want to have no bad feelings. You know how I was years ago, I pinpointed somebody, and I know that is wrong. And I stopped my bicycle wising this morning a little bit shorter to come here to mention some things. And another thing, I'm happy nobody got the 5-minute clock right.
I do.
Oh, okay. It's what I say, you people probably heard a lot about the things about Dutch, what he says and that, and I heard a lot about things about you people. A lot of people are not happy what goes on in the board. And some people have approached me to run for the board. And I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I'm supposed to give some financial support from some people. The first thing I want to say about a minute ago about the yacht club. I've been here 20 years, and I tell you people, I feel sorry that I say, you can spend what you want on the yacht club, that is not going to work. I have never seen this money. Now, we're going to have, I was a couple times in the Yacht Club. One time I met Bob. One time I was there was about 20 people. We're going to have a go. I was there on 5 a.m., 12 o'clock. There was nobody in that day. And there was one lady sitting, and I came with my wife. And my wife was for a long time sick. I said, let us go to the yacht club and say you can relax with a nice chair and everything. But there was nobody. I didn't know why. I didn't know why. In the summertime, the people come here on vacation. Sure, we make a few dollars in the yacht club, but you have to make everyday money in a restaurant. The same thing now, it's like I said, no bad feelings for nobody. The swimming, the closed swimming pool. And this is a disaster. Bob just thought it was more people, but I feel I pay $800 due. I feel this is a closed community. The people from Worcester County, they come and swim in a pool. I don't care what they pay more. Why is Worcester County not giving some money? It comes out of our pocket. The way the economy is today, everybody is cutting back except those who cut. I have sometime I meet with Lee, with Bob, I talk to Tom and Pete. And they're all very nice and good people. They have a good idea what they say. But I'm not happy with that we keep raising our dues. I told Bob, and Bob know that, I asked Bob, see, Bob is a finance man, about bonds. If we want to build something, are we not better off if we take $1 million bond and pay it off in 20, 30 years? Then the people by coming 10 years later, they're paying on it too. We're paying now for everything. Lee told me, who does? She said, oh, well, we got enough money in the bank to pay for everything. But why did we keep raising? I think so. We're supposed to cut our dues at least $100 back, Bob. I did not do. But that is what I feel, and I don't know how you people feel about it. But you cannot expect us people to pay for everything what was neglected for 20 years or 30 years. It's not Bob's fault. It's not this board's fault. But what happened here? What happened to our money? Nobody knows where the money goes, so far as I'm concerned. I talked to Pete about the land we got. We got 18 lots and we got the lot in the fund. We sell it. Well, Pete said, Dutch, he said, the economy is low. The land, it don't bring any money up. But I said to Pete, I said, Pete, we living today. Maybe the land 30 years from today is $1 million worth. But we living today, people. We have to go what today goes on. We cannot see what 20, 30 years from today. I'm not my hair, I'm dead. And another thing, I feel sorry we lost that land. And I have always, when I voted for Mr. Steen for the land, I was always under the impression if we don't build the YMCA, it came back to Ocean Park. I'm very disappointed. I don't know if it is Mr. Steen's fault or who, but that was was promised. And you know, I don't know when it comes up for the tax, this month or next week. You know, for the tax.
IRS. The IRS.
IRS,
We don't know yet.
We don't know yet.
Are you, oh, I thought.
We're waiting on,
We're waiting on the IRS.
Yeah, okay,
Imagine that.
okay, let me make a point about that.
Wait till it's quarter.
I have not much feeling in it. We're gonna lose that, the same thing like we lost the land. The IRS, boy, I had a problem with them. It's hard to get out. So.
Join the crowd, Dutch.
Yeah, okay. And I want to say that, you know, I heard yesterday on the news, you know, the guy said, yeah, Obama made $1.7 million more, but he spent $14 trillion. So, and I know my time is over. I want to let you know it's the ditches.
I'm sorry, sir?
To clean the ditches.
The ditches.
His ditches. You know, yeah.
That's how it sounds.
Well, anyway, that's all I got to say. I'm sorry I got longer than 5 minutes. But I appreciate you guys, John. The thing is about it. The economy is not there, buddy. We heard it. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug.
Name and address.
Sorry?
Name and address.
Oh, my name is John Stawicki. I live over in Bumpers Landing. I'm the president of the association. I have spoken to...
Hold on one second.
Hang on.
Guys, guys, can't hear him talk. Start over, please.
No, my name, you already know.
Yeah, I got that part, go ahead.
I've spoken to Bob about the Carrollton Landing Road. I don't live on Carrollton, but I have the effects on the association is on the curb coming out of Yacht Club. And I want to tell you, in a couple of months' time, there's going to be 400 people out there. We have a new addition to our group, Marina, the condominiums, the townhouses there. Those people are going to start coming in. All of those people have to exit on Mumford's Landing Road. We don't have any walkways like Carrollton Lane has. The speed on that, I'm sorry, Chief, the speeders on that road are unbelievable. Okay, he'll put that speed sign up, and I'll sit on my front porch and watch.
Yeah.
And the damn thing will read 50 miles an hour, and the woman just barrel right through it. I want to take a picture. I'm going to start taking some camera pictures. This little phone is great. You sit there, and I'm going to click the license number and the thing, because you can see it right there. Probably the traffic on there is going to increase to an incredible amount. It really does. Delivery trucks and everything, I don't mind that. Let them do the speed. I don't want speed bumps. They're a pain in the neck for our group because we're constantly in and out of there. But that one-way do not enter causes everybody to come out that road. You could cut the traffic probably in half by making that turn from Marina Village, from the condominiums, and ease the traffic and congestion and the danger. Told Bob, we have a mentally challenged man living right a couple of doors away from me. He's 30 years old, okay, in age, not mentally. He damn near got run over by a car. And then the person got out of the car and screamed and yelled at him because he wandered out into the road. It's not just that. We got to reduce some of the traffic. The road is not wide enough.
You can't, we have a lot of walkers, we have a lot of bicycles, we have a lot of dog walkers there. All right, and you can back, we all have to back out of our driveways. Now, I put my right, a car that's got the TV camera. I get in a car and it damn near ran over a woman. She just was at the perfect position. When I backed out, I looked this way, I looked that way, nobody. So I put it in reverse, and she stands by my window and says, "Good morning." I have damn near died because you can't see the people. Okay? And they all walk, they don't walk on the other side of the road, they walk along the driveway. I just think that it's time to change that road, to make it a two-way street. Okay? It's not like they all say, "Oh, this designed for this one-way circle." 20 years ago, that maybe was right. I doubt that because I've never heard it. They were sold a bill of goods. They all bought their houses. "Oh, you're going to have this beautiful one-way street," and the marketeers walked away, and they're left with the rest. That's 50 feet of one-way road. That's absolutely ridiculous. Okay, I don't even believe those signs are legal. Chief, you can tell me that. You can't put a stop sign or a do not enter sign up without a statute backing it up. Isn't that correct?
Well, it's a county, the road's been turned over to the county, and basically...
If the county puts that thing up, but you put a stop sign up, you have to write a statute for that stop sign location. Not the fact that the stop sign is a legal shape. That don't mean anything. You can buy them at Home Depot.
Okay, thank you.
So I don't think they have it.
All right,
I'd just like to make that
No, that's fine. Appreciate it. No, I appreciate that. Well, I guarantee you, we're going to be doing a lot of reading, and we're not kicking this one down the can, down the road. Yes, sir. Name and address.
Bill Cedar, Sassafras Lane, South Side. I just want to say a couple of things. Number one, I've lived here 10 years. This is my first board meeting. Hard to believe, but it's my first board meeting. And I want to thank everybody. I want to thank the board. Okay? I found it very informative. I found it very interesting. Okay? In a lot of areas. There was a couple of things. Number one, in the past, I've always sat back. I've never said anything. Things that bothered me, I took care of personally. I've hit some areas now I can't resolve them. All right, so I've written a letter to Bob, and he's looking into 2 issues for me. All right? There's a third issue here that's bothered both my wife and I since we moved down here. At the yacht club facility, all right, all the other pools are smoke-free facilities. I was hoping that the yacht club facility, maybe led to believe in some way, that it might come up today to be discussed, that the yacht club facility would be made a smoke-free facility.
Let me step aside here just for a second. The reason it was not brought up today is John McLaughlin is on vacation, could not be here today, and John was the one working with the Aquatics Committee and provided us that information, but we wanted John to have an opportunity to be here when we talked about it. So that's the reason it wasn't out here today, just so you know.
All right, so when would it be brought up?
Next meeting, when John's here.
Next meeting. So if anything is passed on that, it would be done effective with the opening of the pool season.
If there's a change, it'll be immediate.
It'll be immediate.
Okay. All right, thank you.
There's someone behind us.
Oh, yes.
Good morning, good afternoon. My name is Lou Williams, 78 Till Circle. I've been coming to Ocean Pines since about 1979, and hopefully in about a year I will join the 40% about our residents being retired. And I came in for that reason. I know I don't look that age, but
yes, you do.
A question to Bob and then a comment. I heard you say about the ads substituting and or helping supplement the cost of the newsletter.
Yes.
Are the ads guaranteed and for how long?
We resell ads each quarter for the newsletter. However, we have a couple, i.e. AGH is an example, the hospital that bought 4 quarters of ads. So it's a combination of both.
So we're good for this year or we're good for how long?
For the newsletter?
Yeah.
Every month or every time, each quarterly publication we do, we start selling ads.
I'm not perpetuating my thinking. Right now, my wife and I foresee that we'll be able to live in Ocean Pines for a little while. But there were some people that was before us, and things have gone up. The economy has changed. And as Duchess stated, you know, my association fees have gone up tremendously since I've owned my lot some 13, 14 years ago and lived here some 9 years ago. And what's going to happen, it seems to me, is we're going to lose some folk because they won't be able to live in Ocean Pines, and those of us who wish to stay are going to bear the burden. I know it's nothing that you might not be able to correct, but I think it's something down the line with the plan we need to consider. It happens a lot in the organizations and people where you live, that we raise things because we need the economy, but then we force people out, and then the brunt of what has to be done is by those of us who remain. I just want to say thank you to the board for your time and efforts that you put out, the conciseness in which you handle these issues, and I know it's a great magnitude of what you have to do. So I just want to say thank you very much for your efforts, and thank you for giving me the time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, good morning. I'd like to reemphasize too.
Name and address.
George Bowers, 24 Duck Coast Circle. Again, I'd like to thank the board for all the time and effort you guys put in. I know it's quite a bit. The demographics in the area are changing. I'm here today to attend this meeting because I'm laid off. I work during the day. And we have a lot of other folks that are out there that are not retired that they work. I know I spoke to Bob, and there's every quarter there's a meeting in the evening. Is there anything that can be changed, whereas more meetings are held at night so that we may get more participation?
We're actually having discussions amongst many of us that, and the schedule's been set for this year. Hopefully, I mean, I'll be here on the board, not necessarily this year, next year, but I'll be here. I would support us having a Saturday meeting, as well as an evening meeting and a morning meeting during the week. But I mean, I'm only one voice, but you know, others can comment.
Yeah, I'm 3 years on the board now, 3.5 almost, and we really worked kind of at that. And to be perfectly honest, we haven't. I know one board, Marty's still there. No, but it didn't make any difference. I mean, in the numbers. But we still like the idea of having an evening meeting and I think a Saturday meeting, but you know, to be appropriate, because obviously we like to see this be a full house. I mean, you know, that's why it's open. So I think we can work on that again.
Okay. Again, thanks for all your time.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Not Saturday during prime golf season. Take a note of that.
Joe, 84 Watertown Road. A couple things. On the dog park, I'm not so sure what transpired, but, and I don't care one way or the other about the dog park. I have no personal feeling about whatsoever. But I've heard some people say that Bainbridge Park, for example, if that's the location selected, you've got two kind of dirt roads going in there, kind of narrow. Parking is relatively limited. The lack of trees makes it kind of bad. People who are dog people told me the lack of trees makes it bad for summertime use. This thing could potentially attract one heck of a lot of traffic. And the decision you make, if you make a decision to put that into Bainbridge Park, for example, the ramifications could be substantial for the people that live in that area in terms of traffic on those two little roads going into that place. And it is of no consequence, I guess, but you had people here supporting it. The man said he had 300 signatures. But I will tell you this, I put a poll up on my forum. Over 800 people voted, and 80% of them voted no to a dog park.
Really?
That's correct. Now, I'm not saying that signifies everything, but the board seems to be under the impression that everybody in this community wants a dog park. I'm not
Everybody
sure
wants one
that's the only thing.
No illusions about that.
The board resolutions. Bill Rayco pushed this thing, as you mentioned, Pete. 3 years ago, 3.5 years, 4 years ago. And I got up at a public meeting when he brought it up, and I said, made public comments, just as I'm doing now. I said, this is essentially a waste of time because the board ignores the resolutions after they pass it. A lot of effort's going into this. Jim has put a lot of work into this. The board has spent countless hours over 4 years passing all these resolutions. And in my view, it's all a joke. It is a waste of time, and I'll tell you why. I'll give you two examples, one today and one a couple months ago. The board sat and debated one of these things for a half hour, 45 minutes, an hour, whatever it was. And 15 minutes later, the same meeting did something that violated the one they just passed and didn't even talk about being a violation. Today, Pete Gumsack made a motion to propose a motion that wasn't on the agenda. I don't have the text of the resolution in front of me, but Pete, I think your motion was a violation of the board resolutions. My point is, you spend all this time, you put them away in a box somewhere, and no one ever looks at them. And it continues on and on. The facilities planning group. What I'm hearing is that this group essentially is going to be a private group, meet as needed, I believe, as Bob said, and essentially may or may not be open to association. But here's the point I'd like to make. This group, for better or worse, is going to be making decisions and making recommendations to the board, to Bob and to the board of directors of how to spend potentially millions of association dollars. Millions. And yet, if what I'm hearing is correct, I don't believe that group can meet and have association members on it. They're not staff members, they're association members, and I think there's a distinction. You have a group, it's a way to avoid a committee that would examine this and have open meetings where association members can attend if they like and provide public comments to the people on the committee or the group. And I think that, and I've often said in the past, if you're going to err on any side, err on the side of being more open, not less open with the people in this community. And I have no objection to the group. I mean, they're all good people. All I'm suggesting is treat it like you would treat any other community, any other committee. Have scheduled meetings whenever they are, notify association members where they're going to be, when they're going to be, and have them open to the association members. Carrollton Lane. The gentleman back here, I think he's left, he asked a question I've been asking for a couple of weeks now. What's the authority for putting up these signs? I spoke with Sonny Bloxham, the county attorney. And my impression is that the board of directors of Ocean Pines has no authority whatsoever, none, zilch, to set traffic regulations in Ocean Pines. Mr. Bloxham did say that the board of directors, who he looks at as the elected representatives of this community, come down to the commissioners and ask them to make a change, to do something. Most likely, the commissioner will just rubber stamp whatever request is made, but they don't have to. So, for example, in Carrollton Lane, let's say the board decides to make some change. If you go to the county, as would be required to make the change, the county might rubber stamp. But then again, if 500 people shall show up down there at the commissioners meeting when they discuss the change, they don't have to do what the board wants to do. So we have no authority to put up signs. And I think that, and I mentioned this to Bob in a private conversation, that I looked at the turnover or the agreement with the county to where they took over our roads and it became public accessible. There's nothing in there about traffic regulations. I suggest the board of directors or Bob go to the county and say, if all our regulations are in place right now, stop signs, no parking, speed limits, if they've never been formally accepted, will you accept them now? And then anytime we want to make a change, we go down and request a change. Because those signs, Maryland law says that a sign out on our streets, if you violate a speed limit, let's say, and you go to court, it is a presumption on the part of the police department and the driver. There is a presumption that those signs are placed there by proper authority. And if they're not, it's to prevent people from just going down, people in Carrollton Lane go stick up do not enter signs if they want to personally. So I believe that's not a major front burner issue, but I think it's something we ought to address and get it straightened out. But for example, I think we put up do not parking signs down there along Pintail Park. We never went to the county and asked. We just decided to stick up no parking signs. I have no idea if the chief, police department has given people any tickets down there for those, but I would question whether they were placed there by proper authority. That's all. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Medium?
Motion to adjourn.
You ready to go, bye-bye?
Quick, Ray, quick.
Motion to adjourn.
Wait a minute.
Media? Any media?
We already said media.
Just want to mention that the Ocean Pines is sponsoring like this, a senior fun day that is happening on
When I get to be senior, I'll consider it.
May 13th at the community center, having lectures, demonstrations, games, line dancing, boat rides, and bicycle tour. So it will be fun. You come and join the
When is this?
fun, May 13th.
May 13th. Senior Fun Day.
He's reading.
Motion to adjourn.
It's in the,
Oh, it's in there.
it's in there. That's what he's reading.
Motion to adjourn.
Yeah. Where were we having fun tonight?
Done.